Okay. Alright, take two. Alright guys, welcome to State of BorN number 2. It's currently January 17. Test map just went live. Patches went through too. So today we're going to talk about those things. Here with me today is Zephyus. You guys know him. He is the god of Starbow. The incompetent developer of Starbow. I'm just kidding.
Yes, that's more accurate.
Soa is the guy in charge of ladder and the matchmaking system. He's really awesome. Vec here, Monday Night Starbow host. Awesome philanthropist, playboy, billionaire, biology teacher. And we got Nap, who, if you guys don't know him, you really should, because this guy plays Protoss, which, of course, is the noob race that Vec also plays. No, I'm just kidding, but he's back after a long hiatus, and he's really good, so
Thank you.
he's going to have a lot to say today, hopefully. And I'm BorN, your host. I think you guys probably know me. Okay, alright, so Zephyus, let's talk about the current live version of stuff that just went through the last patch. So, hit it.
Sure. A lot of stuff went through. I think we can relink it again into the Twitch chat.
Oh, it's static. Static.
Let me fix that.
There.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah,
Is it
that's perfect.
Going back again though, or is it staying away?
It's still there, but it's much less than it was.
Be gone, static. Be gone. Okay. I guess we can just talk about one change at a time. I kind of crammed in last take there, but like I said, a general thing has been a buff to spellcasters. This is mostly due to spellcasters in general are quite nerfed in Starbow compared to Brood War, and they have been for a very long time. And there's probably been some reasons for that. But it's kind of hard to take over Starbow development from Cabell, because like myself and the Starbow development team did not start Starbow from scratch. Cabell has done that, and he has had several reasonings for some of the changes that has been. And one of the things that we have seen.
Wait, the static is back. Sorry.
Oh, okay. No
The little Atari sound's back. It's like Space Invaders or something.
Is this better?
No.
It got worse.
Worse.
Oh yeah, that was the worst one.
That's better.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, again, it's the same. This is the same setting as when the static was here. So
Oh,
might
it's
come
back now.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's so weird.
You got a new mic or something?
Yeah, I did, and it's supposed to be better.
What mic did you get?
Okay, is this better?
You sound really far away, but yeah, it sounds better.
Okay, let me try and fix this. Just a second. Oh, I think I know why. Okay. Just a second.
Like mice chewing on your cords or something?
Okay, how's this? Is this
Yeah,
better?
Yeah,
It's-
sounds good.
Better,
Thank you.
yeah.
Do you want me to go louder?
Oh wait, it's back.
It's
The
still
stack is
static.
back.
I don't know what to do.
Oh, that
Sorry, man.
sucks. Alright, I know what to do. I'm gonna switch over to my old mic again. I'll be right back.
All right.
Alright, well, let's continue to read through the patch notes a little bit, and we can let Zephyus come in and do a little bit of explanation. He'll come back to discuss how he was, the process of taking over from Cabell while he gets back. Anyway, so in general, they've buffed some of the spellcasters. I know that talking to Zephyus before, that one of the issues was that prior to Zephyus and some of the current devs taking over, there had been a lot of nerfs to casters. I think a lot of that was due to SmartCast and other elements of the SC2 engine kind of making casting pretty strong. So it was something that was nerfed, but has recently kind of been rebuffed again, just because strong casters were a big part of what made Brood War balance what it was. Storm is very, very strong, for example. Dark Swarm, very, very strong. So that's kind of where that has come from recently.
Yeah, and I actually do like that, and also in case you guys don't know, like right now I have the patch notes open up, which is on the front page of StarBowMod.com, but it says that it affects mainly High Templars, Defilers, and Science Vessels. And I mean, those units add a lot to the actual matchups. Like TVZ, for example, Defilers versus Science Vessels, I mean, Dark Storm has a huge effect on the TVZ matchup. Storm and PVZ has a huge effect on the matchup. Plague always has a good effect. So, generally, yeah, I actually agree with the spellcaster buff. But are there any spellcasters that didn't get buffed?
I'm back, by the way. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it sounds good. That sounds better.
Yeah, it's way better.
Okay. That's my old microphone. I bought a new one. Okay, this sucks. Anyway, well, probably, hopefully it's just, hopefully the thing is just for Skype and not when I actually stream. We'll see though. Yeah, I think Vec talked about this with smart casting and stuff. I think one of the main issues was that I think Kibel thought that smart casting would be too good with the Brood War values on the Storms and all the other like spellcasters. And what we didn't really account for back then was also that you have unlimited unit selection. And more recent testing kind of gives us a feedback that unlimited unit selection cancels out the smart cast in a lot of instances. So if we have to try to remove, because a lot of times we've been thinking about removing smart cast. It's been discussed a lot of times, but like December's comp said, if we remove smart cast, we also have to remove unlimited unit selection, and it kind of snowballs from there.
Okay.
So it kind of makes sense to at least see what it's like with really strong spells, and see is that actually like feasible, because a lot of this, when we go for the Brood War values and all the units, a lot of strategies in Brood War relied on very strong spellcasters. One of them being, for example, Protoss being able to deal with a massive amount of Hydralisks with Storm, stuff like that. And when you don't have that, then it just scales really poorly.
So Nap, what do you think about the change so far?
Well, I will say that before the patch, whenever Bandit and I would play games, and whenever he would just go like mass Hydra Ling, I could not secure a third base even with Storm. It was like not impossible, but extremely, extremely difficult. And I think part of that was because of the weaker Storm. So I think overall, like a buff to Storm, specifically in the PvZ matchup, was really needed. I haven't played a ton of games since the patch, but I find that Storm overall is a lot better. And yeah, I haven't seen Dark Swarm or the new Science Vessels in action yet, but I know that Vessels kind of seemed a little bit weaker in Starbow for some reason, and I don't exactly know why. I think part of it was lower HP too, but
yeah, it was something about like the irradiate damage wasn't ticking fast enough or something. Because it felt like in Brood War, when you actually irradiated a clump of mutas, like it was like a really big panic moment, because that damage would tick so quickly. But it feels like in Starbow it wasn't as fast. But you guys have changed that though, right?
Yeah, it's we changed both. We increased their HP, and we also increased we increased the total damage of the irradiate, but we didn't like stretch it out in time, so it does deal more DPS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And one other change with the Science Vessel I think is really significant is how much they can get their spells off more easily. Previously they were having to stop and spread out, and so that's been changed as well, especially for PvT with EMP, because it was really difficult to accurately aim your EMPs with the way that the Science Vessels worked. If you had more than a couple of them, they would first bounce off of each other before they'd cast anything, and so that's another change. It's a buff to the Science Vessel as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I totally forgot. But yeah, casting with EMPs back then, before the change, was like the most difficult thing ever, because you had to wait for a complete stop. And I remember I lost games because of that. But so it seems like, what's up?
Can I get a little technical about that change?
What's up?
Sure.
Because we tried adding, just especially for EMP, because like you don't have to hit irradiates in a split second as long as they hit, but EMPs are like super important that they hit at the precise time.
Yeah.
So we tried going for moving, like you could cast EMPs while you were moving, but then it was like almost a joke. Like it was too easy. Like it was just like there was nothing Protoss could do. So the fix we ended up with, which is actually a quite interesting fix, is that all the spells now, the Science Vessels still have to stop to cast spells now, but we put their deacceleration to like instant, so the Science Vessels can stop in an instant if they have to. And then we rather gave them less acceleration, so you can still try to catch them with Scourge if they have to stop in irradiate, then it takes a while for them to get out of there, so you can still like kind of... So we keep that dynamic. But then, just because of the separation bug if anyone is familiar with that, it just made instant stop like definitely the best way to go about doing this.
I
So
should
what is
like
the best
that.
way to? Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
What's the best way to micro that then? Is it better if you like actually tell the units to stop before you cast it?
No, it doesn't matter because when you
Okay.
tell a unit to cast a spell, they will always stop before casting it anyway.
Okay.
But it felt surprisingly smooth. It was just one of 3-4 things we were testing, like just to try and fix it. And then I just tested that and like, oh wow, it just felt perfect. Like, oh yeah, we're doing this. It's always a good moment as a game developer.
So overall, it seems like we all pretty much agree that spellcasters got a pretty good buff that they needed.
Yes.
I'm glad to
Cool.
hear. And well, there's one spellcaster. Well, there's actually two spellcasters that might be a little bit controversial here. There's the Viper, and I think there are two things about this Viper that will be interesting to see in development. The first one is the fact that it can cast infested Terrans as an air unit, which means that it can throw them down pretty much anywhere. That adds a lot of mobility to Zerg late game. Like, not necessarily mobility, but a lot of like terrain abusement, I guess you can say. And then also it has spawn brooding, which should be probably fine because it is higher tech than it was in Brood War, and it was still rarely seen in Brood War. So I don't think that will be a big issue, to be honest.
I see. And also the oversteer was removed, right? And it had the parasite ability or something.
Yeah.
You can
That was
probably put
the
that
only-
now on the Viper now.
Probably the only issue with that is then the Viper can have 4 spells. That might be just a little bit bloated. But
it has 4
that's something
spells?
to consider. Yeah, it has. It also has Ensnare.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
Another thing that we put in that's probably a little bit more controversial is Protoss. I mean, we put in Protoss.
That's true. Yeah, you can't really argue with that.
Instant controversy.
I mean, Dark Archon.
Speaking of Dark Archons, or
yes.
actually, did you have something else you were going to say about?
No, we should go for it. Go for
Okay.
it.
So also the other general patch note is that Archons, Archons, Reavers, and Ultralisk are now classified as massive units. So why is this?
It's basically only because of spawn breeding.
Okay. So spawn breeding
because-
doesn't affect massive units, basically.
Yeah, like we were testing it without because it was hype tech. But what you could basically do in the late game is that. How can you hear me? My microphone was set off. That's really weird.
Really?
Anyway, that button isn't working. Anyhow, but basically what you can do, if you have like 1 Defiler, 12 Zerglings, and a couple of Vipers, then you could kill any base no matter what defense they had. If they had like 2 High Templars and 2 Reavers and cannons, then you can just snipe the High Templar and Reavers with the spawn buildings, and then you can put up a Dark Storm and then kill the base with 12 Zerglings. And that was kind of stupid.
So how about Ultralisk? Because that wasn't how it was in Brood War, though, right? I think spawn
No.
breeding could be used on Ultralisk back in Brood
Yes. Let me try and explain how the logic behind spawn buildings was in Brood War, which is really weird, and that's why we don't have it. But basically, in Brood War, any unit that had some sort of biological component to it could be spawn building. So a siege tank, because there's a guy inside of a siege tank, you could do spawn building. But an Archon was just pure energy mass, so you couldn't spawn building that one. And I would like Starbow to be consistent in that it follows like a unit type way logic, you know what I mean? Instead of some really weird lore logic. So,
yeah.
so that,
Something
and
that
there's
players
no-
can easily see in the description of the unit.
yes, so it's easy to explain in short terms because you
Yeah.
play fast, you're learning new things. And there's no way the Ultros can't be massive. I'm sorry, if the Reaver is massive, the Ultros can't be massive. It's the way it is. And I don't think we're gonna see any CVZs with mass Viper late game to kill Ultralisks anyway.
I see.
So-
So why not give it like separate units, like a certain classification, where they have like spawn breeding immunity?
Well, the thing is, like, the units that these are the units in Brood War that could not be spawn broodlings. It was Archons-
Ultralisk also?
No. I'm listing them now.
Oh, okay.
It was Archons, Dark Archons, Reavers, and Probes.
Oh, okay.
And 3 out of 4 of those units should be massive anyway. So the only change is that we switch out Probes for Ultralisks. That's the only change really, because the rest of the ground units are not massive.
Okay.
So tanks are not massive. That's important because you could spawn brooding tanks, and that's a big that's a big
That's
one.
the thing they're going to be used on most
Yeah.
anyway. So
I mean, that would be kind of interesting though if in a late game ZVZ, One's opts to go for defilers. I mean vipers, and the other one has ultralisk or something. They're trying to be cost effective. But you know, it's ZVZ. I don't really care about it because I'm a Terran, so whatever. All right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
When it comes to, I just see there's some comments in the chat about the Viper. Yes, the Viper is probably superior in Infestor, with one exception that he can't burrow harass, but when you can fly, that doesn't really matter. But the point is the Viper's at a later tech, and what we're really going for here, and maybe we should have it so you can just make Vipers directly, I don't know, but what we're really going for here was to have a unit with the same spells, basically, but it has a different attribute which makes the spells function differently. Like, Infested Terrans is a good example, where Infested Terrans on an Infestor will be used in a very different way, or can be used in a very different way than when they're on a Viper, which is a flying unit. So you have like a new dynamic with the same spell, which we thought were pretty neat.
You know, I still think we should have exploding Infested Terrans. Because here's what I'm thinking. Alright, you got this Infestor that has Infested Terrans, right? It'll cost, I don't know, say like 125 energy, okay? So what you do is you get this full energy Infestor, you lob off the Infested Terran, so you use up 125 energy, you have 75 energy left, you morph that into a Viper, and then with the Viper, you run up and you shoot an ensnare. And like, come on, that's like the coolest thing ever. Right?
That was such a complicated chain of events.
Dude, that's so not complicated. You just morph the Infestor into a Viper. With the energy that the Viper now has, you can use that energy to use an ensnare, and that'll synergize with the Infested Terran. And then also the other reason... Huh?
Does the Viper regain energy when it spawns?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So how much...
It actually starts with... Viper starts with 100 energy.
There you go.
So,
It's like the perfect...
BorN, you should switch to Zerg and showcase that build. Well, actually, then we can't do it with this. Yeah.
Dude, I already switched to Protoss. I can't go back. Come on.
Of course, you never go back from Protoss. That makes sense.
But anyways, like the other thing I was thinking is, you know, like removing the Infested Terran, because I feel like the Infested Terran, as of now, is pretty boring of a unit. Especially when you put it like on the Viper. And if you were to take that out and replace with Parasite, which of course is a lot, you know, weaker, but give Infested Terrans that are stronger to the Infestor, then suddenly the Infestor actually has almost equal utility. Maybe more utility.
I like that.
Yeah. And if
Maybe
Naps
reason to
likes
make
it, I
both
mean, come on.
units.
But, you know, that's just a thought for another day, but, I mean, I think it's a good idea. But,
I think it's. I like at least the idea of having Parasite maybe on the Infestor, whereas Ensnare is on the Viper, or vice versa, whichever sense.
Yeah, we can look at that. I actually have a good reason for having. Let me just talk about this for a second. The reason we wanted Infested Terrans on Vipers, and it may not be the best spell to accomplish the goal, but the goal is to give each race more mobility in the late game. Basically, the longer a Starbow game is, the less terrain can matter if the players choose to. For Protoss, this is evident by the upgrade for Stalkers to blink up high ground, and for the warp-in technology they can have when they can just warp in instantly anywhere on the map. For Zerg, this is accomplished via the Nidus network, and the mass drops late game, and also now with this Viper. And for Terran, we don't really have that much yet. We're experimenting with we can talk about this later with Testmap. We're experimenting some things with Terran. We kind of knew that Terran was lackluster in this area, and that's what we're kind of working with now. But that's like the general idea of the Viper, is to give Zerg something that negates terrain later on. I think the driver on my webcam suddenly got installed. But I need to restart my computer, so let me just restart while you guys talk about stuff, and I'll come back.
Okay. Alright, we can talk about unit sizes, because that's something that us as players have probably experimented with. So unit sizes were adjusted. I wish Zephyrs is still here, because I don't know exactly which units, but I know the Dragoon, for one, has a huge effect. So what do you guys think about that?
I love it so far.
Really?
Even
Why?
though it means I eat more siege tank fire. They're a little bit easier to manage, even though they're not like stupid like they were in Brood War. It just for some reason feels a little better with the smaller dragoons.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. I feel the same way. Now I don't know if I've played with them with their current size. I think the last time I played, they were even smaller than they are right now. But yeah, they just seem. I don't know. They seem more responsive. They seem like they're more agile for some reason. I don't know if that's just a perception or not, but they seem to get hung up less. I'm not sure what it is.
Interesting. I mean, like, as a term, I like it too because it makes defense a little bit more easy. But, like, then again, I've also played a little bit of Protoss, and I feel like it makes the early game a little easier when you're trying to be aggressive when siege tanks aren't out yet. Because you can kind of, like, move them, like, you can move, like, 5 Dragoons in, and you can get them all in range a lot more easily because they're not, pushing against each other. So, like, in an early game situation where it's only, like, a few vultures, maybe 1 siege tank without siege, I feel like that is a big advantage for the Dragoons. But, like, in a late game scenario where you have, like, 5 siege tanks that are all sieged up, like, at a choke point, I feel like that's a big nerf against the Dragoon. And actually, I kind of like that. I really like that. I feel like it's tackling issues where they should be tackled, and making things better where they should be better.
Yeah,
so.
I think they move better in formation. Like they stay in formation a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong about that, but I think that's the big change that really makes them feel better for some reason. I can easily just box them, move them, and they'll stay in the same shape. That's really nice.
Yeah, and I don't know. This could be me, but for some reason it seems like due to the Dragoon size being reduced, mine diffusing is slightly easier. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but I was diffusing mines much more easily than I was when the Dragoons were bigger.
Yeah, I don't even try anymore, so I can't I can't comment on that anymore. Really, the tanks being smaller though too. I know that the Dragoons and tanks both had their unit size decreased, and I feel like Zerglings. I feel like those are the 3. There might have been another one. Patch notes, I don't think they actually say which ones are smaller. But I think tanks are as well, which allows tanks to both. Well, they can more easily take splash damage being stacked on top of each other like that. So Zealot bombs become more effective. So the tank becomes stronger against the Dragoon, but a little bit more. If you're not careful with it, it can be a little weaker from splashing itself. Mind drags, Zealot bombs, whatever the case may be.
Oh yeah, that does make Zealots. I mean, Spider Mine's a little bit stronger when they actually hit. So do you guys actually know what other units were changed in terms of unit size?
I do not.
I feel like the Zergling was, but until Ziphius gets back, I can't be sure. I know they were talking about it for a variety of reasons, especially since they've zoomed in the view. Was he back?
I am, but it didn't work.
Shoot. Okay, Ziphius, what other, besides the tank and the Dragoon, what other units had changes to their size?
Oh, all of them, basically.
Wow.
Very slightly, most of them. Almost unnoticeable. And like the Zealot, for example, has actually not received. It looks different, but the Zealot is actually the same size because the Zealot size was basically the same as it was in Brood War, but we did make it shorter in model. It's not as tall. I only changed the Z-axis on that one because when we put it next to Dragoon, the Dragoon just looked tiny because the Zealot was so tall. So we did a couple of. This is basically what happens is that in StarCraft 2, the angle of the camera is different. So the height of the units looks different than it did in Brood War. I'm not saying it has to look like Brood War, but on the other hand, it's important that unit don't look like they're standing in front of each other and you can't see them. So we have adjusted the heights more than anything really.
Okay.
On a lot of the units, but we have changed the actual size. So I'm going to be a little bit technical again now, but there's 2 size changes in the editor. There's one where you have the model size, and that's how the big unit looks. And then you have the actual radius of the unit, which is how much space it actually takes. And
so that's really what we're from a gaming perspective. That's what we really care about, right?
Yes, we really care about how much space it actually takes, and then we adjust the model to fit that. But the model also has another important role, and that is conveying what kind of unit you have. If the siege tank is too small, which it wasn't in the first test one, then it just doesn't look like a strong unit. Even if we could make the actual model look bigger without changing the size, and then people would say it would be fine because it's more of a aesthetic thing, and it actually creates a lot of placebo. There's tons of placebo. It's so funny. Sorry, I'm just blabbering, but I want to share another example. There is a mod which basically recreates every Brood War. Like you have the SC2 Starbow, no, not the SC2 Starbow, just the SC2 Brood War mod that just basically tries to recreate Brood War in the StarCraft 2 engine. And then someone took that mod when it wasn't completely finished a while back, and they made custom models for almost every unit to make it look exactly like Brood War, almost.
Okay.
And a couple of the Starboard players were playing that and like, oh, we have to, whatever they've done here, we have to do this. This feels so much better. And they were all like agreeing on how much better it feels. And when me and DecemberScum analyzed the mod, they didn't have any pathing system. You could stutter set with the Marines like you could in StarCraft 2. Like, all the engine problems were there, but it looked like Brood War, so they thought it was better. So it's
Interesting.
you get a lot of placebo effects from nostalgia and just looking at things.
Okay. So actually, did Zerglings get changed in size also?
Yeah, Zerglings were actually bigger than they are in StarCraft 2.
Oh.
So
Really?
we just adjusted them to StarCraft 2 Zergling size.
So
They were-
basically, is it like how it works in Brood War, where 5 Zerglings can surround 1 Marine?
I think so. You can test
Oh.
it though, but that has more to do with the range change that we had a patch ago.
Oh, that's
I think
right. Yeah.
and then the size of the unit.
So there's more units that got changed than didn't get changed, right? In terms of unit sizes.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So
Like
what units didn't get changed?
I mentioned the Zealot. I think that's about it. The smallest units
Wow.
got changed the least because we can't make a small unit too small because then it's so hard to click it.
Mhm.
But some of the bigger units got significantly smaller, especially lurkers, tanks, dragoons, defilers to a certain extent. The defiler more than model because the tentacles were all over the place.
So to clarify, siege tanks got smaller, right?
Yeah.
And
Siege tanks got smaller.
lurkers got
dragoons
smaller. Yeah. How about Hydralisk? Are they the same or what?
Hydralisk we kept the same. They were actually very similar to Brood War already in size. One of the things we did, because since the dragoons and the siege tanks got so significantly smaller, and they did, is that we actually made them taller compared to their length and width, so they still look bigger, so they don't look too tiny.
Okay.
And that was a good way of making sure they aesthetically looked pleasing with actually being smaller. Because what we don't want the model to be too big, because then you can like stack, like you see the siege tank like overlapping on each other and it just looks bad.
Okay, so it looks like we covered these general changes. So now we can get to the nitty gritty, actual balance. All right, so looking in the main the link on the front page of StarboMod.com with the 0.53 patch notes. Looking at Zerg, it says infestors no longer have Neuroparasite but can morph to Vipers for 75 energy. This requires an upgrade at the Infestation Pit after Hive is complete. The Viper has the same 2 spells as the Infestor, but also has Spawn Broodling for 150 energy. Same spells in Brood War, works on all non-massive ground units. Vipers do not have Consume anymore. So,
Yeah, we basically covered this one already.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I like it. I mean, overall, I like the change. I feel like there should be more diversity to make the Viper a little bit more different than Infestors. Because, yeah, it does seem like the Viper as of now is a better version of the Infestor. But I don't think that's the target goal, right?
Nah, it's kind of hard to say. Like the target goal. Okay, I'll tell you what the target goal is. This is gonna sound weird, but the target goal was basically to bring back Spawn Broodlings on an air unit in a decent way.
Yeah.
Because we like the Infestor, we like the burrow potential, especially since we removed roaches. We wanted to have a unit that had some burrow movement sneakiness to it. So the main goal was to get Spawn Broodling on an air unit in a good, quote unquote good way. I think you're right. We could perhaps make the Vipers more different from the Infestors, add some diversity, because right now when you're on Hive Tech and you make some Infestors, there is very few reasons not to morph them into Vipers.
Yeah.
Unless
Infestors have infested Terrans that blow up and do tons of damage.
I think we're gonna hear
Just
that.
saying.
Like
I'm just saying. I think it'll be so fun. Like, I mean, as a Terran player, like, it has no utility for me. But, like, to play against it and to watch it, like, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'd be so down for that. But, so it looks like, wait, actually, just to clarify, but what spells do the Infestors have right now versus the Vipers?
The Infestors only have Ensnare and Spawn Infested Terrans. They're actually a little bit boring. And then they have the
Wow.
Morph to Viper ability.
Okay.
Well, actually, that's technically a spell since it costs energy, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that does sound kind of lackluster. But, you know, that's up to you guys. I'm just saying. Best of Terrans. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, we
All
never
right.
listen to the community anyway, so it doesn't matter what you say.
Kappa. Alright, so the next change is Baleen now deals 36 concussive damage on impact and costs 25-25. The debuff effect has been removed. Banelings must either connect completely or use their explode ability in order to deal damage. Remember, 36 damage is 9 damage to buildings and armored units, so don't ever try to baneling bust down a wall. So, I like this change, first of all, from a Terran perspective. I mean, anything that makes the baneling weaker, I understand that it's really to make ZVZ more playable in the early game. And I do like that it only deals damage on impact. Actually, why don't you clarify that for anyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, well, like basically in StarCraft 2, if you have a group of Marines that target down a baneling, which is something that should be encouraged in my opinion, it's to focus down the banelings. If that baneling still gets too close, even if you focus it down before it hits, it's still gonna blow up and kill whoever Marines is too close, and that just feels like it doesn't really reward the micro you put into it. Another reason in this particular area in Starbow, one of the reasons we can do this, because I'm pretty sure if they did this in StarCraft 2, the baneling would just be too weak. But we can do this in Starbow because the Marines can't stutter step. They have to turn around before moving. So microing Marines against banelings is more difficult as well. So that warrants this nerf compared to Brood War.
Interesting. Actually, that just got me another idea for the Infestaran. If you guys do implement the Infestaran, which you guys definitely should, I think you guys should make it so that it's like the SC2 baneling, if need be, where even when it is killed, it still deals damage. Makes it a little different from the baneling.
We'll have to. I haven't even considered that infested Terran blowing up in a very long time. So
all right,
I'm gonna have to chew on that a little bit. I can't really. I don't want to say anything right off the bat there.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so Vec and Nap and so, what do you guys think so far about the baneling change being concussive?
I like it better than the the armored debuff one. It was just too confusing.
Yeah.
So I like having, if we're gonna have a baneling, it should be, a baneling.
Pure
so
damage.
I think it's good. It's not gonna be. I don't think it'll necessarily be overpowered. I know that and we'll get to this with the test map discussion about the speed of the baneling, but the concussive damage makes sense. So I'm fine with it for now. I haven't really played against it, and I probably won't play against it very often, being a Protoss, but. Baneling versus Marine is one of the cooler things in StarCraft 2, so I think if we can preserve that from StarCraft 2, that's a noble goal.
Yeah, I hate it though. It's like, I mean, I know it's fun to watch, but like to actually play against it is like, oh man, it sucks. It's more micro than position, you know what I'm saying? So Nap, what do you think about the baneling change?
Overall, I like it. I mean, its main purpose is to address early game ZVZ, which was the only real broken, if you want to call it that, matchup in Brood War. So something to fix that and actually make kind of like a late game in ZVZ, I think is great. I don't know the implications really in TVZ. I don't know how much it's going to affect the matchup, but overall, I think the unit is, as long as it doesn't overlap too much with the Lurker, which the way it's implemented right now, I don't think it does.
I don't think it does either.
I think it's fine, and I think it's really good that it's going to try to fix the ZVZ problem.
Yeah, I agree. And then also the other suggestion that I've also suggested many times is if need be, if it synergizes too well with Dark Swarm, we can make the damage considered range instead of melee, so that if it explodes under a Dark Swarm, it doesn't deal damage.
In terms of logic, though, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Just saying, like, we want to make sure everything is logical. Like a suicide unit is considered range is really weird. But
yeah.
We'll probably talk more about this in the test map discussion, but yeah, like Beck was saying, the speed of the baneling is definitely something. It is really important to remember how the concussive damage work. Like, this basically makes Firebats and to a certain extent Mercs really good counters to the baneling.
Yeah, I agree. So I mean, from a Terran perspective, I feel like I'm not too worried about the baneling at all. I feel like the changes are good, and it does fix ZVZ a little bit in the early game. So I think so far I'm pretty down for it. I'm really down for it, actually.
And I honestly don't have too many concerns about it synergizing too well with Dark Swarm, because a Terran shouldn't be fighting under a Dark Swarm against Zerg anyway, whether it's Zerglings or it's Banelings. I mean,
yeah, and
honestly, I think they probably should try to avoid that situation in the first place. So, if they manage to get Banelings into the Dark Swarm too, then that's just going to punish the Terran more for maybe making a poor decision there.
Yeah, so. It just really forces Terran to have to make Firebats no matter what in the late game.
But I'm actually. And Firebats, I guess we can just mention this right now since we're on the subject. Firebats did get a buff as well, in this patch,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen TRB started to play Terrence now in his own wonderful style, and
Yeah.
and he's actually going for a lot of firebats late game versus Zerg, and he's having some success with it. It can work. So I'm not saying that should be the new meta. Just make firebats late game but instead of like it's an alternative to the Vulture switch late game.
Okay. It looks like
Merc,
Nap just
Merc
disappeared.
firebat, I guess. Nap took it.
Nap, are you there? It's okay.
Uh-oh.
He'll be back. I just hope his webcam stays there so it doesn't move everything
No,
around.
he said in the chat that he's going to be right back real quick. So.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so the next change, Roach is removed. What do you guys think so far about that?
I mean, I understand the reasoning because they weren't getting a lot of play, and they weren't really doing what they were meant to do. I don't know. I guess I just have like I fell in love with the fire spitting Roach. He's cool looking, he spits fire, but honestly in SC2 I hated Roaches. I thought they were a boring, stupid unit. So
Yeah.
I guess I just got to get over it if we don't have them. So, yeah, the Banelings are certainly more exciting than Roaches. So
Yeah, I would agree. Wait, so Xephius, so since the Roach is removed, what is now the Zerg method of dealing with Stalkers?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not actually thinking about that. We need to look more into that. To be honest, I guess Ensnare from Infestors plus Hydras are pretty good because Ensnare stops them from blinking.
Oh, that's sick.
So that's one way of dealing with it. But I was actually playing versus a much better Protoss player than myself though. So he just beat me in pure macro. But you do really feel the snowballness of Stalkers in PvZ, and it can feel a bit frustrating. Which is something we want to like. If you're losing a game, like I'm fine with you being frustrated, but if you feel frustrated because he's making like the unit that you just feel you can't deal with, that is another feeling. But in general, Roaches. If we bring back the Roaches, it would be much more to deal with Stalkers than it would be to fix ZVZ. But again, Zerg would be fairly bloated with units that have very specific purposes and not very much general use, and that in itself is not very well designed. Like you don't want, if you have a race with like let's say 12 units or 10 units, you want to have like more than half of them be more like general units that you can make in most matchups, and fewer specialized units. You don't want to have like just 2 basic units and the rest is just whoa, if he makes this weird composition you must make this unit and that's the only time it's used kind of unit.
Yeah.
So
although I think splitting up the upgrades for Stalkers and making Protoss decide on what kind of way they want to improve their Stalkers is a good first direction in that, in handling the whole how does Zerg deal with Stalkers thing. And potentially what could be looked at is this would take probably some intensive testing between a couple of our better players. Maybe if TRB and Franskar wanted to sit down and hash it over with some games, just seeing is it possible for Zerg to get Infestors out with Ensnare in a reasonable amount of time to counter Stalkers before they get to that snowbally stage, because I think that's a good option for a response. And so it might be something where we need to look at the tech times and how long does it take before this upgrade hits the field, or how long does it take before Infestors hit the field, that sort of thing, and see is it reasonable to expect that Zerg players can respond to that, and is it a viable option for them as a response?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Vic. That's definitely something we should look into. I think we should just think more in general, because with this patch also Stalkers did get +2 range from their range upgrade, and it was argued that because we did split up the Stalker upgrade a couple of patches ago, maybe it was like the patch before, where Stalkers went from having 1x12 to 2x6, and that actually changed a lot in terms of armor and stuff like that. So it was a nerf for the most part. So not a lot, but some players felt that then having only 5 range with the upgrade was not justifiable when we already nerfed the damage that way. So we're trying it back to 6 range. It's Stalker's always like I posted in the forum there. It's always walking that razor's edge of being useless and then being OP. I'm actually kind of curious. I know Nap probably hasn't played with Stalkers in a long time, but what kind of general impression do you have with Stalkers, Nap?
Well, they have the 2 upgrades now, right? They have the range upgrade and the sight. upgrade?
Yeah, the sight upgrade gives them the high ground vision. They still start with blink.
Okay. I know Bandit for a while was using stalkers like how they used to in PvZ, and they were like really good. They just straight up replaced the Dragoon as the mid-game unit. Did the damage type change at all, or did just the damage output change?
No, it was the damage. I don't even know what to call this, but since it has two little lasers, it went from having like one attack with 12 damage to 2 attacks with 6 damage each.
Okay.
But the type is still plasma damage, which is really weird. But we're just gonna keep that for.
That does like armor
Plasma damage is like
shields, right?
It's like a better concussive damage. It does 100% to shields and light, and then 75 to medium, and then 50% to armored.
Okay. I like the 2x6 instead of 1x12 because of lurker armor. I think it makes it so stalkers don't just destroy lurkers in PvZ, because that's kind of what it was. Is you could have this super mobile unit that also like destroyed lurkers. That also traded okay with Hydras too. And
it's going to make upgrades more significant as well.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
And I never have a problem with that. You know, players investing in upgrades are getting rewarded for it.
So what then? Stalkers default with 4 range, right?
Yeah. And
then the upgrade is again +2.
Yep. So they get to Dragoon. It's the same as Dragoon. They also default with 4 and get +2.
Okay. All right. My only other thought on the Stalker was when PvP was Stalker versus Stalker. Of course, that was not exactly the best because
the golden age of PvP.
Yeah. But there is one thing that I really, really liked about it, and that was the ability to scout your opponent. PvP was because right now, to me anyway, PvP at times feels like a coin toss. Like you could either go like Reaver, you could go DT, or you can do some kind of like 3-gate goon opener or something. Unless you're the Red Bandit, in which case you go Nexus first and somehow live. But, if you go, each one of those kind of counters the other, not straight up, but usually the 3-gate openings lose to the DT openings unless you go Robo, which is like a whole nother thing. But like with the Stalkers, you could scout your opponent and you didn't just like auto lose to certain things. And that was the one thing I really liked about the Stalker, or how the Stalker used to be, I should say.
I'm just curious though, is it possible now in current PvP, even without the high ground upgrade, to like go for a Stalker and then just go halfway up the ramp and just blink into the main without dying to Dragoons?
I don't think so. Well, hold on.
As long as he's got a decent number of Dragoons out, which he should by the time you have a Stalker out.
Yeah,
he's going to have 3 or 4 Dragoons there. I mean, unless you can skirt around him while his army's coming to your base or something, but at that point...
Yeah. I mean, Stalkers are really... Yeah, they're really fragile. I mean, like, even Spider Mines are really good against Stalkers.
Yeah, and they were... While they were really, really good early game PvZ, like way too good, it made a different type of harass in early mid game PvP too, which was also really cool. Blinking up into the main with 3 or 4 Stalkers. Dragoon positioning became really important. The Dragoon versus Stalker war was actually really, really fun for me on both sides, because I had to be really careful where I positioned my Dragoons, because like 2 Dragoons could take out 3, 4 Stalkers, but then it came down to micro. So I actually really liked how the old Stalker with the high ground vision worked, but I see in the other matchups why it's a good thing that it's removed.
But I'm thinking though, you still kind of, the Stalkers in PvP would still give you that counterattack potential.
Yes.
That you didn't have the same way in Brood War because their mobility compared to a Dragoon. But I understand the problem. Like if he goes straight into DTs and you are not going for a fast Robo, then it doesn't matter how many Stalkers you have, you're just dead. So.
Wait, so one question. So
that is a good point though.
Stalkers still do like extra damage against shields. Is that how it goes?
So, every unit does 100% damage to shields.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. JK.
Yeah, I don't think anything. There was a time where the Baneling did more to shields, but
Yeah,
I
200%
think as of
to
now,
shields.
nothing does bonus to shields, right?
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
The whatever the Baneling damage was called, I don't even remember anymore. That is gone. That damage type is gone.
Corrosive damage or something.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that was
corrosive.
it. Yeah, corrosive.
So the only weird damage type we have now is plasma, which is stalkers.
Mhm.
I think we thought about giving like scouts plasma or something at some point, just because it fits like the Protoss theme, but I don't remember. Whatever.
Damn. So it sounds like we have to do a lot more PvZ early game testing with stalkers to see where they stand and how Zergs
Yeah.
can deal with them. Okay.
The thing about let me just emphasize on this, because this is important. This is more of the general overview plan of Starbow. Yes, we will, but if let's say you get let's say you want to open a little bit more macro heavy as Zerg and just spine crawlers won't cut it because you're gonna have these blink stalkers and yada yada, and you need these infestors and stuff like that, and we see that some research times take too long for this to work. Changing, like, for example, infestation pit build time or something like that is not something that has to be done before Starbow is out of beta. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's a change that can happen later when we have more data and we have more games. Because we're mainly focusing on like the things that we don't want to change after beta. So like, we don't want to give a new spell to the infestor after beta, like stuff like that. So so those are important changes, but those are also changes that is a lot easier to make when we have more games and more players to base it off of.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could just be me being just a Terran player, so I don't really know much about PvZ. But I mean, it is defendable, right? I mean, stalkers can be stopped. It's not like some go-to build that always wins.
Yes.
It seems it can, but like there may be some unexplored. Like that's always the case. There may always be some unexplored builds that we don't know about that could just not be countered. But then on the other hand, if someone discovers this crazy build, then we have to give Zerg players time to learn to adapt if possible. We can't just nerf it right away, because that may also be the case.
They definitely require a response from the Zerg. If the Zerg was planning on just staying on Zerglings for a long time until they get up to like some sort of heavier tech, definitely forces them to, if nothing else, build a spine crawler or two, or build some Hydralisks to try to keep them away. Just trying to defend with pure lane can be really tough.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing. I mean, the Protoss should be rewarded for investing in that tech and going that route. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it looks like we covered that. The next change that we can talk about is the new upgrade in the Defiler Mound increases the maximum energy of Defilers, Infestors, and Vipers by 50. So can you go ahead and explain that, Zephyus?
Yeah, this is an upgrade that was in Brood War, but we have not added energy upgrades for any of the other units, which was also in Brood War. Actually, the upgrade in Brood War made the starting amount bigger, but the starting amount on all spellcasters in Starbow is already bigger than it was in Brood War. It was mostly 50 in Brood War, and it's mostly 75 in Starbow, with a couple of exceptions. Which I don't know off the top of my head, but I know there are a couple of exceptions. And basically, like I said, we buffed Storm. Well, actually, we didn't really buff Storm. We just fixed Storm because it was broken. But it was a big. The fix was a big buff. And then we buffed Science Vessels to a certain extent. Now we haven't buffed any of the spells of the Defilers, in spite of them being weaker than they were in Brood War, except for casting range. I think you can cast it from longer now, but we increased casting range on all spells basically. So that's not like a big buff for Zerg specifically. But one thing that we thought might be neat is that I think the Defiler is the unit that can benefit most from having more maximum energy. Two reasons. First of all, because when it has 250 energy, it can cast both of its spells, both a Plague and a Darkstorm, and we don't see that much Plague, and that might be one of the reasons. Because if you have 200 energy, you want to cast 2 Darkstorms. You don't want to cast 1 Plague. Yeah. And the second is that it has Consume, of course, so it can gain maximum energy quite quickly. So this will encourage the Zerg player to more actively consume units, which is a more interesting way of buffing the unit than just giving it straight up better stats, we thought.
Okay. But it also affects Infestors and Vipers too, so...
Yeah, and that's mostly just because just one upgrade to give Defilers 50 extra energy, like, even in Brood War it did something more. So we wanted it to, like... that would seem such a niche upgrade to get, so we wanted it to just affect more units. That's kind of like a bad explanation in terms of game development, but yeah.
Quick question: the Viper does not have the consumability anymore, right?
It does not.
Okay, cool.
Good. No, seriously. I mean, could you just imagine consume and spawn brooding on siege tanks?
But basically with this upgrade though, it's actually quite important for Vipers too, because spawn broodlings is 150 energy, I think. 150 or 125. I think it's 150. Yeah, 150. Okay. And when you get this upgrade, like Vipers, especially when you like how you used queens in ZVT and Tournament Mech, is like you would just have this group of queens, you just let them charge up and charge up and charge up for a long time while you stalled the attack for as long as possible. And then when you finally had a lot of energy stored up, you could counterattack and go back on the offensive again. And when you have, if you store it up to 250 and then you go for one round of spawn broodlings, you're only gonna have to recharge 50 more energy for another round. So you're gonna have to, the momentum can swing in your favor a little bit better with this upgrade. And this is definitely a late game situation. So very, very specific, but still, it's something.
Yeah, I like it.
Right. Okay, so for the next patches from here on out, because I'm just gonna go ahead and read the what the patch change was, as well as the explanation, because I feel like they're really self-explanatory.
Yeah,
what?
Some of them are.
Yeah.
No, never mind. Yeah.
Okay, so for the next one is Hive is now required for Nidus Worms and Nidus Network. Each Nidus Worm will now exit their units quickly, as if they were upgraded. The upgrade is now removed. And the explanation is connecting faraway bases for Zerg and Lair Tech with instant reinforcements is not something we have seen too much, but it seems quite broken from the little we've seen of it. Zerg can already drop at Lair Tech, so the Nidus canals are not really needed until Hive Tech anyways. So, as a Terran player, I agree with that. Do you guys have anything to say about it? Or pretty much a good agreement?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious to hear from you guys about that one, because Nidus Worms on Lair Tech, like, to connect bases, not to use defensively, but to use defensively, like, we didn't really see much of it, but when you think about it for a second, like, that basically means you can have half as many lurkers.
Yeah, exactly.
And have 4 bases.
Yep.
So is there a different Nidus Network and Nidus Worm? Are they two separate things?
The Nidus Network is the building that spawns the Nidus Worms.
Oh, okay. And does it still cost gas?
Yeah.
How much?
I think each worm costs 100 minerals and 50 gas, and the network itself is also fairly cheap, but maybe slightly more expensive. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. I remember Bandit saying that Nidus, I don't know if it was the Nidus Network or the Nidus Worm, was really restrictive in the later stages in the mid game because of the gas cost. Because the Nidus Network in Brood War was mostly minerals, right?
It's just 150 minerals, yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, in Brood War? Oh wow.
Yeah, but the thing in Brood War is that you had to
Tech,
make
right?
yeah, it was Hive Tech, but this is Hive Tech 2 now. But you had to make pairs, like you'd have to make 2 at a time. This is
these can go anywhere.
Yeah, this is more easily manageable. Well, they have to be on creep, but they're more easily manageable, and they also have a very interesting ability that BorN kind of talked about a little bit earlier. I talked to him.
So broken.
No, it's not necessarily that broken, but it is like the fact that you can store units within them without them being actually existent anywhere on the map. They're just in the Nidus Worm, is actually so they're potentially anywhere. You know what I mean? Like. That was more management in Brood War, and also you can actually save. Oh, you can still do that. We didn't fix that bug, but you can actually save a defiler that's been irradiated by sending into a Nidus Worm, because the irradiate doesn't apply in the Nidus Worm.
Oh no.
So yeah, that's a bug.
It's brutal.
But we don't know if we like it or not.
Whoa! I know if I dislike it or not. All right. So okay, the next one is the Overseer has been removed. The explanation is since we got the Viper going and Overlords detect, this unit seems redundant at the moment. I agree.
Yeah,
it's pretty much. Yeah, there's really no argument with that.
I've said
go ahead.
Yeah, I've said it before. If the Overseer doesn't detect, it shouldn't be in the game. Like, that's like what the Overseer does in SC2. So.
Yeah, Overseer made PvZ really weird for me too, because it made it way too easy to scout the base. The entire base of the Protoss know everything and what they were doing for like what 25 gas was it? It just seemed like a really strange unit overall.
And same even for Terran too. It wasn't that easy to kill the Overseer. But that's like a really old one.
what's kind of interesting about this is that I also listened to, and this is not related to this change happening, but I just remember it now that I listened to the interview with Rob Pardo, who was one of the lead game designers on Brood War and also in Warcraft 3, and he was actually before he started working on Brood War, because he didn't come in at the very beginning. The Overseers were the Overlords in StarCraft 1 was pretty fast before he started working on them, and he reduced their speed with 95%. Because he was like, Zerg has free like scouting here, and scouting is a really important asset in the early game, and he had to convince them quite a bit how important that was, and then we kind of, with this Overseer we kind of just reverted that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a really interesting interview, by the way.
Yes.
Do you remember which website that was?
I can find it.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
Rob Pardo is a guide. Like, the guy
Yeah,
is
if you-
smart.
If you Google Rob Pardo interview, some sort of game development website, blog thing, it's really interesting to listen to. I'd recommend anybody to check that out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
When they have the time.
Alright, next patch. Scourge 1, starting armor removed. With gas costs to macro mechanics, the early masses of Corsairs have gone down. The separation buff the Scourges received a while back seems strong enough. Yeah. I know TRB talked a lot about this, but because of the gas mechanics, of the macro mechanics, like, I mean, that's what, 50 gas for every macro mechanic, and the delay where you can't even use your buildings, like, that's pretty big. And overall, that accumulates to slowing down your Stargate, as well as your Corsair mounts. And so, but the other thing to keep in mind is that even though Zerg might be investing in their macro mechanics, their facilities can still be working. So, I mean, because of that, the Scourges they can now come out in reasonable amounts to deal with the Corsairs. So, yeah. I like that too.
One thing we did to very softly deal with that is that, and I don't think that's in the patch notes actually, but both Orbital Command and Nexus, Caldera Citadel morphs faster than it did before.
Oh yeah, okay.
We did have a test map where they had like 7 seconds, something crazy, and it just looked silly because of the whole animation it has to go through. So I think we changed it to like, we just slightly buffed it. It was like 26 seconds, and now it's like 20 seconds, but it's something to compensate for the fact that they can't make anything when you're morphing it.
Okay.
Yeah, because Zerg can continue to produce larvae.
Yep. Alright.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to talk about Protoss. Dark Archon is now added to the game, must be morphed from 2 Dark Templars, has feedback, and can research to get Maelstrom and Mind Control. Same stats as in Brood War, except Maelstrom is much smaller in size and does not last as long. Finally, yes!
Yes.
It's about time.
Wow, I'm surprised. A lot of people were very...
That's because you're stupid. No, but actually we talked a lot about the Dark
hosts.
Archon last time. We talked a lot about it in
Yeah, we did. We don't have
yeah.
to cover that too much.
We don't
now.
have to, no.
No, it's okay.
So, alright. The extra HP that War Prisms received after speed upgrade has been removed. Yeah.
I think I
Wait,
remember
extra
BorN complaining about this
HP
about
after
9 months ago.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh
a battle
my
he's been fighting
god.
for a long time.
Yeah, this is actually... I have to say that this change is heavily influenced by BorN, actually. So
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
My bad, guys. But, basically...
extra HP with an upgrade?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. What happened? Okay, this is really weird, and this is all my fault. I'm just blaming this on me. But
It was weird.
is that so War Prisms had 2 buffs from Brood War. First, it was medium instead of armored. Now that sounds like a nerf, but most anti-air units deal explosive damage, which is 100% to armored, like Hydralisk, Goliaths, and those units that usually
turrets is a big
Yeah,
one.
Turrets.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
And on top of being medium, they also had extra HP or shield. I don't remember. I think it was HP, extra HP.
Yeah, you guys gave him extra HP with the upgrade.
Hey, don't say you guys. It was Cabal, but okay.
Cabal gave him extra HP.
No, not with the upgrade. Yeah. So basically, what happened is that we looked at this and saying like, you know what, these War Prisms are too strong early game. So we put down the HP to Brood War values, but we kept the medium attribute because we do want to encourage more drop play. And then they were like, well, in late game, that HP like doesn't matter that much. We thought. So okay, so with the speed upgrade, we'll give him back the HP that it lost from the beginning. And I think that is a change that went maybe without a patch note, and that's probably just because I forgot to put it in there. And then it turns out, you know, the speed upgrade from the War Prisms is not a late game upgrade; it's actually quite early. So that did influence much more than we thought, and it's also very unintuitive that if you upgrade the speed, you also just get a little slap on a little 20 extra HP. Just
Yeah.
so.
Now,
And it's already medium. We just removed that extra HP it got.
now I still get. I mean, okay, I know Wonkman's probably really pissed off about this because now he can't do that freaking mid-game suicide your Reaver and get a bunch of kills, SCV kills. But I mean, like, I know that the initial change was to increase the survivability of the War Prism, which, yeah, I mean, I can see that happening. Of course, with the medium change, I think it takes like 2 more turret hits to kill it now. And if we need to actually compensate by increasing the survivability of War Prisms, I think the best thing to do would be to increase shields instead of the actual HP, because now shields take full damage from everything. So
I actually take that in a different direction and not actually change those values. What I would, and I don't know if this is possible, but if there would be a way for when the warp prism is in warping in mode, because that's the main issue, right? Is getting the warp ins off, right? If there was some way to buff the warp prism's survivability only when it's in that mode, whether that's through more armor or if it somehow
hardened shields,
got more shields, or
that's very possible.
Something like that, I think, would be maybe a way that both makes sense within, like, you know, the lore of the game, and just something that's gonna only buff it when we want it to be buffed, which is when it's warping.
The thing is, it's yeah, and well, it is already medium, so we're gonna have to see like how easy or hard it's gonna be to warp in units with Warp Prisms now with this patch. We haven't really tested that at the moment. But in the just technically in the editor, the Warp Prism in flying mode and the Warp Prism in phase mode is actually 2 different units with 2 different set of stats. So it's really easy to make that change because you can just change stats to one and not the other.
Cool. Yeah, I think that there, I contributed.
Sweet. That was awesome, yeah. Alright, so Sentinel No Ward has been reverted to its original form with some modifications. It can now be shot while moving, has more life, moves slower, and can fire from farther away. Whoa, there's actually more changes here than I thought. I thought all it did was just, now it can be shot while moving, but now it has more life, moves slower, and can fire from far away. I actually like that.
Yeah, and it's actually, what's kind of interesting here is that the fire from far away seems like a really big buff, but it's kind of a nerf because you can shoot it while it's moving. So you have more time to shoot it, basically.
So basically what this change does is, because it can now be shot while it's moving, basically that means you have to reach a critical mass of units before you push out. And now that you guys increase the life of the null ward, and it moves slower but can fire from farther away, now that means that you just basically increase that critical mass a little bit higher. So it gives it basically gives Protoss the map control to actually make something out of what, you know, their investment. So I like that, actually.
And another thing, like, since it also moves slower, you also have maybe not enough time, but you have some time just to split if you don't have that critical mass.
Yeah.
And it eliminates the problem. I mean, this is reverting back to kind of the old null ward design, but not having the cloak is a huge thing, because I think that the cloak was the biggest issue, where Protoss could just keep a Terran player, for instance, in their base for way too long, just because they would have to rely on either getting out some sort of detection or using scans or something like that. So I think overall it's a better version of the old null ward.
Oh, and
wait, it's not cloaked?
No, yeah, I have to clarify that it is cloaked, but not when it starts to move.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So you
can shoot it while it's moving now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it doesn't have to be manually targeted, right? Like if you have like 7 Marines A moving, like they should be able to take it down.
It's not what's called benign, where like the observer ability gets when you click
good, because that would be too hard, I think.
Oh god.
What I kind of like about this
Oh
though
my
is
God.
that even if you have a critical mass, if you as a Protoss player invest in a lot of null wards all over the place, and you have a little bit of an army, you have maybe 3-4 dragoons. If you see him moving out and gonna go shoot down those null wards, then you can start moving with the dragoons and try and, you know, lure him to shoot those instead, and then you can still affect if that null ward's gonna hit or not. And I kind of like that as well.
And another thing is, if you actually invest in a lot of Sentinels, and I mean, even if Terran gets the critical mass or Zerg or whatever, I mean, I still think if you invested a lot in the Sentinels, you can still stack the null wards relatively close to each other. So if both of them activate, they can still do damage. So I still like that too.
They do behave very similar to Spider-Mines.
Yeah.
Like if he has a big army, you stack them close, so at least one is gonna go off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that.
Probably both will go off, but if
I think the only thing we've been hesitant with here is just making them too similar to Spider-Mines. But every other mine we tried just seems to pale in comparison. The Spider-Mine is just such a good concept and so well designed that we're just gonna have to mimic it for the others to
Well, I don't think the null ward is like the Spider-Mine. It's similar, but it's pretty different, and I like it actually. I really do like it.
Yeah, and
before I didn't like it, but I like it now.
Yeah, it was kind of sad because like Cabell did put a lot of thought into the old null ward. He was the one who made the original old null ward, and we kind of like scrapped it and went for all these other crazy ideas that didn't really work. And finding a way to make that old null ward work has been very satisfying because that is something that was originally put a lot of thought into, and it was sad to see that whole concept gone from Starboat.
I'm sure he's looking down at us from Starboat Heaven.
Sounds like Bell is dead or something.
Just smiling right now. Alright, okay, alright, let's see. Oh, and the explanation is the old null ward has a special place in many Starbros of Heart, but was hard to balance right with their permanent cloak. This is an attempt to bring them back without changing them too much. The testing we have done of this has been positive, but not extensive, so please test and give us feedback.
Indeed.
Alright. Sentinel range has increased to 6, damage decreased from 2 times 5 to 2 times 3. The micro of these units' new attack seems more interesting than them shooting hard. This change should explore that further. I like that.
That's actually not true because the Sentinel range was apparently always 6 from the last one as well. The thing is, we tested 5 for so long and then we got back up to 6 again, so I thought it was a change, but it wasn't. So, but the damage decrease is a change. They were punching too hard.
So you guys think about anything? You guys think about that? Good, bad?
So they were before they did 1 times 6, and then they did 2 times 5, and now they're 2 times 3.
Yep.
So what was the reason to changing them to 2 times 3 as opposed to 1 times 6?
Well, what is important is that a couple of patches ago, when you played more, the 1 times 6 was on a lot lower range and a different attack form and a different DPS generally. Like the cooldown and stuff was different as well.
And I think this could just be a point of confusion here. It's not like a Stalker 2 times 5 or like a Carrier, or something like that, or the Goliath, or I don't know, whatever has 2 attacks. It's 2 consecutive attacks with a little delay, right?
Yeah.
Like
That's the case
okay.
right now. So it's something where you can attack and move away, and it will only do 3. Or you can attack, and then another attack will come right after, and you'll do 6. So
Okay.
it's a little bit, the
Okay.
wording there isn't very clear.
That's a pretty
Lots
interesting
of
micro
yes.
concept. That's pretty interesting. So it's like there's a really tiny delay between the first 2 attacks, and then a longer delay between the second attack and third attack, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you have to make a decision of like, okay, I can stay there for like a little period of time and get another shot off, or I can just run away right away.
Yep.
Okay.
You can
That's
actually-
actually interesting.
You can
That's
actually technically, with this range, when we tested this for fun, you can technically kite a Goliath, but you're gonna do 3 damage at a time.
Yeah.
So it takes
Cool.
we calculated, it takes about 2 minutes to kite a Goliath and kill it. So yeah, it's not
Jeez.
feasible.
That's totally worth it.
Yes, totally.
Alright, so Scout no longer has the phase missile ability. Dark Archons now have feedback. Okay, self-explanatory.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Scout Grant damage has been decreased to 8 normal. Scout Fleet Beacon requirement removed and cost decreased to 200 minerals, same gas cost. It also has longer vision than other air units. Okay, and the explanation is this sends the Scout back to being mainly an anti-air armored ship, and we are fine with this now. And it also has longer vision because I mean it's a Scout, so
It's
you
a
know.
Scout. We
Yeah.
have to give it more vision. It's a Scout.
Yep, that is
So-
Brood War upgrade built right into it.
Yep.
That
That upgrade was so popular though.
So I know. Okay, we got Vec and Nap here who are good Protoss players. So what do you guys think so far?
So far, so good. I like everything. Maybe this will open up some kind of scout usage, because after it was moved to Fleet Beacon, you just did not see
Yeah.
them unless there were like what are those things, Devourers or something. Those are the only times I built scouts, was when I saw a lot of Devourers.
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that it's no longer Fleet Beacon requirement, so there's more utility for it. Now I think the original cost was 275 minerals, right? Not two.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, I have played against them one time with Wonkman. It was shitty and I hated it. It was crappy and I hated it. But I mean, that was only one game. But I think they're probably in a good spot. And also my build was also off too. I could have optimized it. So
And it is
Right
important to remember that they did have 12 explosive damage to ground, so that means that Goliath was not that good versus them. So 8 normal will be much better for
The
Goliath.
thing
true.
I'm wondering if I might be able to, or somebody who's better than me, figure out a way to maybe use scouts for overlord hunting, as opposed to corsairs. The corsairs are obviously still gonna be a lot better against mutalisks, but I think using the just because of splash damage, but scouts have a lot more survivability. They got a lot more health,
Yeah.
With this making them actually pretty affordable and not being on Fleet Beacon, you can maybe pump out a scout or two just to clean up overlords, go try to fix them off, because they're not going to get taken down nearly as quickly as Corsairs will. Although I think they're probably slower, so Scourge can probably hit them easier.
Maybe mixing the two would be best, like opening up with a Corsair and then going into scouts from there. Because it's not like StarCraft 2 where you just put spores in your mineral line and then you're safe against, you know, what the Phoenix harass would do.
Yeah.
Here, like, most people prefer to put their spores in the middle of the base. That would open up like some kind of scout opener where you can pick off drones or something.
Yeah, that's true.
Purely hypothetical, but
they can still attack the ground.
And I'm telling you guys, I'm gonna hate myself for saying this, but the Energize, that little safeguard, just throw a proxy pylon, safeguard it, bring your scouts back.
does that work for air units?
Yeah, does it work for air units?
I don't know.
I think it should.
Fransguard built that ability. I don't know if it actually works for it.
I think it should.
That is actually kind of cool though.
Yeah, of course. It's actually what they did in Brood
Yeah,
War.
I want to see more safeguard builds in general.
Dude, I've been using safeguard, and it's pretty useful. It's especially in the early game for sniping down siege tanks. It is so good.
I also see like
it's so worth it.
I also see it used in like late game if you have a really Archon heavy tech and composition and the Archons are almost dead and pull back and safeguard heal them up and go back up.
Yeah, that's about the only time I ever use it. Is I'm like, oh, Archon doesn't have any shield left. I have something for this.
Alright.
And also, any Terran players out there? I mean, pros versus Terran. The stove. Maybe you can go for the stove.
Yeah. Oh, the stove.
I actually don't even remember how it works, but yeah.
It's basically a build based on tricking your opponent into thinking that you're bad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, oh, this guy's BMing me, but it ends up being a legit strat.
Yeah.
I'll have to relook it up. But anyways, alright, so Duality Charge and Stalkers now gives them +2 range. Okay, self-explanatory.
We talked about that one.
Yeah, we already did. Psionic Storm values have been fixed. They've been bugged for a long time and was never buffed with neither the 0% patch nor the 12.5% patch. This will be stronger. I can't say I disagree with it. I mean, yeah, I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, we also talked about that one as well.
Yeah. Reavers now deal splash in 100%/50%/25% areas. The most in the middle and least at the edges. It also has a very small delay between when it detonates and when the damage is dealt. This results in units escaping the Reaver shot, taking less damage, and resembles how the Reaver worked in Brood War better than the previous one. It now deals 100 damage and 125 damage after the damage upgrade. I like it.
The only sad thing about this change is that it does make the Reaver a lot stronger in PvP now, and it basically sends PvP back to Brood War days. And but when it comes to with this change, it basically had to deal 100 damage because of how this area percentage works in what kind of units they were supposed to be able to deal with and not deal with. Because 50% of 8 is only 40 and yeah, stuff like that. But we did a lot of, me and December's.com did a ton of testing in a Brood War map where he would drop a Reaver in my mineral line and I would pull workers. And basically, if you just pulled your workers in Brood War, it was like 1 out of 10 times you'd actually kill a worker.
Yeah. Because
they would just bug out. The Scarabs would just bug out. Because when they were following units around, they would bug out so much. And basically now, if the same thing happens in Starbow, you are probably going to kill 1 worker, maybe 2. But usually you would kill like a lot more even when you pull workers, and that just felt unfair. Like it didn't feel like your reaction was being rewarded. So this is a lot better in that regard.
And actually, before... Oh, go ahead.
I said the Scarab, it moves faster now, right? Or is that from the last patch?
No, that's from the last patch because it was a speed increase. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the Scarabs are actually... The thing about taking your workers and bring them to another mineral line to protect them is actually probably one of the worst things you can do in this against the Starbow Reaver, in my experience. I feel like the best thing is just a bailing split. Huh?
It was.
Yeah, it was. Before it was,
now,
yeah.
Yeah.
But now it might be a lot better because before the AI was so smart, it would just lock in on that one SCV, and because you clumped them all in together, you couldn't click that one SCV because it was like you're not gonna get it. So that was killing me. Oh my god, it was so frustrating. Okay, maybe I'm just bad. I don't know. All right, so now we're moving on to What's up?
I said a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, freaking man, I don't want to break any more keyboards, man. I have like a cheap Amazon Basics keyboard right now. All right, so turn. Mercs have been added to the game. They cost 100/50 with a 35-second build time, 125 HP, 30 damage explosive with a 1.5 damage period, weapon period. They can grapple onto units, and if it's an enemy unit, they deal 30 explosive damage on impact. Movement speed 2.4. Explanation: we've already talked a lot about mercs in the forums and on streams. Feel free to ask specific questions about this here or in the balance forum, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. Well, mercs have been in for a pretty long time, so we have a lot of good data about them. They add a lot of viability to bio TVP, and also even in bio TVT. Haven't really played too much about them with them in TVZ because they get dominated by Zerglings. So, anything else you guys want to add?
Basically, I think we covered the mercs really well in the last episode.
Yeah.
So if this is the first time you're watching and you want to learn more about the mercs, then watch the last State of the Bow. I don't think I have much to add. There's one thing I want to add. It seems like how to say this. This unit is all about the grapple ability, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it is that ability is like 60% of the unit almost, which may be a problem, but we're not gonna. Some units are more exciting than others, and I think this is about as close as good as it's gonna get, and I think we're just gonna be happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Science Vessel HP has been increased to 200. Woo! Science Vessels now shoot off their abilities more smoothly. They still need to stand still, but I think Terran players will find this a lot easier than the last patch. Yes, I do. Irradiate changed from 4 damage per 0.5 damage to 4.5 damage per 0.5 seconds, resulting in total damage increase from 176 to 198. So they tick a little bit harder, they tick faster. I mean, not faster, but they tick harder, and they deal more damage overall.
And we covered that earlier, so
yeah.
if you're just joining us, check out the VOD later. We talked about the Science Vessels for quite a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Battlecruiser damage increased from 15 to 25. Attack speed adjusted so the DPS stays about the same. So basically, this makes it so that battlecruisers deal better against armor upgrades. And the explanation is the battlecruiser attack had nothing interesting going for it at all. It was bland as possible. We could have given it many smaller lasers like they did in SC2, but Vikings already have that form in missiles. The hard punch of the Brood War battlecruiser makes more sense in Starbow. And
How
yes,
much
it does.
HP do battlecruisers currently have? Because before they had some ridiculous amount of HP. It was almost, they had like 750 HP or something.
They were like
It
buildings.
was stupid.
It's like a hive. No. I don't.
400 now, right?
Yeah, I think it's
400
400.
around there. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's reasonable. Like it's nothing that I would like be like yes, you know. Like,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, this is actually what we had going for it, and it was insane. And this was from earlier. But battlecruisers basically had more HP. They were faster, still a lot faster than the Brood War one, and they had the warp drive ability.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of extra buffs. And
it was
right
like the
now it's-
Hyperion.
Yeah, and right now it has the blink ability still. It's still slightly faster, but the HP value I think is back to Brood War.
Okay,
Um,
cool.
And basically this attack, the attack it used to have, it was probably the most bland attack you can ever imagine. Like, we were thinking about either going for the SC2-esque battlecruiser where it just shoots a lot of smaller lasers, like pew 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 pew, or we could go for the more Brood War heavy hitter.
Yeah.
And like if we had a little, this was one of the later changes right before the patch. So if we had more time to think, we might come up with something completely different and interesting. But basically, we didn't go for the SC2 one because we already have Vikings doing all the small missiles versus air, so it would kind of overlap a little bit in that regard. So this makes more sense.
Okay. And the last change, oh wait, not really last, but soon to be last. Ghost Secret Drone Missile now lasts until it hits the target unit. Units hit will still only be frozen for 12 seconds, but they no longer take double damage while locked down, which was, I think, a bug or something, or a mistake.
Yeah, that was not.
Yeah. So
Not
yeah, I like
already.
it.
No wonder they died so fast.
Basically, the Secret Drone is it's got a 100% success rate now, right?
Yep.
Okay, but then you
No, actually, you can blink away from it.
oh.
Nice.
Or if you picked up in a shuttle or something, right?
Yeah, probably that as well.
So Dragoons and Zelds now have blink. No, I'm
Or
just
ran
kidding.
into a Nidus canal.
Oh, probably. I just cannot.
But then you wouldn't be able to lock it down in the first place.
Oh yeah, never mind. You use it on Zerg anyway.
Yeah.
Dang it.
All right. Yeah, I like that. It's there's a secret super duper awesome BorN build where you go ghosts and vultures. So what you do is you just lock down all the dragoons, you kite with the the vultures, and then you lay mines next to dragoons. It sucks. That's a bad build. don't use it. But it's cool. All right. Firebat's AoE is slightly longer and the flame animation is adjusted, actually decreased to match the actual hitbox. The flame in the old patch looked 4 times bigger than the actual damage area. No wonder people thought that Firebats were imba, but they really, I didn't think that they were really that great, especially compared to the Brood War Firebat, which like they just like shot like fast hard beams like one after the other.
Yeah,
So
I did
actually, this is actually a...
Vic.
Sorry, what?
No, just go ahead, sorry.
I would say this is actually a slight buff to the Firebats because their actual AoE has been increased with this patch.
Yeah.
That is
So-
true.
And it's more functional too, because the other one it was like they would like spread it around like a dumbass or something. But now in this Firebat, it shoots in straight lines. So like if you position it perfectly, you can like hit multiple lines of Zerglings. Like it's like way better. Like this Firebat is just awesome. It's orgasmic to watch.
I did some testing with some hold position Zerglings clumped up, and the most Zerglings you could hit in one hit in the old Firebat was 4.
That's a lot.
Like if they were yeah, right. If they were perfectly clumped up, you could still only hit 4 Zerglings at a time, and that's nothing. Now you
What?
can hit like 6 or 7. So
Oh.
but this is important. If your Firebat is surrounded, you can still just only hit the same amount, which is probably
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
So this is only that 6 to 7 only applies if you have like 2 rows of Zerglings lined backwards. That's basically the perfect engagement for a Firebat.
Mhm. So they actually.
For them when they're first engaging, when the units are first on top of them, coming in
Yeah.
those conga lines that we like to get.
Wait, so they
So-
can hit 6 or 7 Zerglings now?
If they're in a very good, if the Zerglings are
Okay.
really poorly placed, yes.
Okay, that's how I remember them being. It was.
Cool.
I just remember them being good and not crappy. Okay. All right. So that covers all of the live changes. The test map changes. I think there's only like a few of them, right?
Yeah,
There's
there's
like
not that many right
Reapers. That's it. And like something else.
now. Well, yes, we did change the numbers a little bit, but we really regret that. So that's probably gonna be reversed very soon. So I don't want to even. I don't think we have to talk about that.
Okay.
But Reapers is a big one, and I want to talk about that one a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
basically, what we've done is that we removed. No, we actually put Reaper build requirement as a fusion core, which sounds so crazy. But basically, you need to have a fusion core to make a Reaper. But the Reapers you can make are pretty buff Reapers. They have the same stats as the Reapers would have when you had the upgrade for them earlier. But they deal normal damage, and they used to deal concussive damage. That's quite a buff. And you don't have an upgrade for them anymore, of course. So basically, what this does is that it definitely puts Reaver as a late game unit for a Terran. And we basically wanted Terran Bio especially to have a late game unit. The Ghost has already been kind of put more earlier by the changes we made. And the thing was, with the Reaper changes that was a couple of patches ago, they're just not being made early game anyway anymore.
Yeah.
And what was the main problem, according to some of the players that I talked to, was that getting that upgrade for the Reapers was such a big investment, so that you wouldn't make him late game either. But when the upgrade is removed, even if it has fusion core tech, in the late game situation, you're gonna have a couple of barracks with tech labs. You're gonna have the fusion cores. So you might as well throw in some Reapers, and then you have that extra mobility, that extra ability to stretch your opponent thin across the map, and you can fly in there, snipe some units, throw down some bombs, and be annoying. So it's kind of like in the line of the Vipers being able to throw down infested Terrans, in the line of Protoss being able to warp in anywhere. You have a pylon late game and stuff like that. It's negating the terrain late game philosophy.
Cool.
We had some thoughts about going for some upgrades for the dropship instead, or adding some crazy drop pod ability and stuff like that, but I think this is a cleaner design by using something that's already in the game.
Dropships are already stronger as it is with the
Yeah.
boost and being able to pick up sieged tanks. We are all moved. Oh, okay.
One thing that, actually, if you want to test this Reaper, there's one thing that we are feeling is a little bit problematic, and that is that the mines, the cluster bomb mines that we now have, they seem to be a little bit too all-purpose. They seem to be like very little counter to them, like except we're moving away, but like they kill buildings to kill units to kill. We were looking into making like maybe Reapers really strong versus buildings and weak versus units, or vice versa, instead of them just being strong versus everything right now. So
Gotcha.
we'll see about that.
What is
Okay.
their damage type right now?
Now it's normal.
Explosive? Oh,
No,
it's
it's
normal. Oh, well, that's one idea.
Yeah,
Change
well, it
that.
actually we just changed that from concussive to normal because it was later tech, so we kind of
Wait, the bombs were concussive?
No, the bombs are explosive. The bombs are
Okay,
explosive.
that's what I was asking.
That's
Sorry, the
important.
bombs.
Yeah, the bombs are explosive.
Okay, that makes more sense than normal. I was gonna say, wow, normal damage. Dang. Okay.
But yeah, so one thing I do want to say here though in the stream, and that's something we talked about in the development group now, is that as we went through this list, there are a couple of things that we popped up. The Vulcan being like a little bit not that interesting because it's a better infestor and little things like that, and stalkers maybe need some counter, yada yada. But like in general, we feel we're getting really fleshed out now. We feel like we're getting really close to something that we can at least say is getting out of beta, and so that's just really positive. And I'm also right now I'm starting to look more into things we have to do to like get Korean translation stuff going, get the website looking better, get like things like that. I'm more interested in right now actually. So things are looking in the right direction. So it's quite interesting. Yeah, it is very exciting. Trying to get a hold of Tastosis, things like that. So, yeah.
All right. Anyways, so overall, do you guys have anything that you don't like or dislike, or anything you want to see in the future? Because I do. There's one thing I do want to talk about.
I hope it's not the infested baneling throw thing.
No, but that's a good idea. I should talk about that again. No. But like I don't know, but like right now, okay, I did some testing with TRB like a few weeks ago, maybe like a week ago, where we actually played a TVP on Brood War, and the whole thing about vultures having that little delay, that 3 second cooldown between each spider mine, actually has a big effect on like Terran pushes. Like it's actually huge, because 3 seconds that's enough time for Dragoots to kill the vulture. So that means like a vulture should have dropped down maybe like 2 or 3 spider mines, but now it's only dropping down 1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like one thing that I think should be looked at. And I remember Dirtybag did talk about it too. He said that like the whole cooldown the mine is really it's a big nerf. It's a big nerf to vultures. And another thing is in Brood War, when 2 spider mines were both activated at the same time, there was still a good chance that they would actually both hit. But in Starbow, when both spider mines activate, one of the spider mines will always end up killing the other one. So only one spider mine will activate and detonate.
And I have no idea how that could happen in Brood War, because that means that they have to hit instantly at the same time, because they do deal splash damage to their own units. Maybe spider mines didn't deal splash damage to spider mines, but I'm not sure if that's true.
No, I think what me and TRB thought is that maybe there's like a slight delay before when the splash damage actually attacks.
It might be like the reverse.
Yeah, it might be.
That would change.
That would actually make sense.
Yeah, we could actually test that. We could test putting down like a 3 second cooldown between each, because there is a small cooldown on, but it's only like 1 second or something. We could put down a longer cooldown between each spider mine, and then we could give it the reaver ability or the behavior, and see how that fares.
Yeah, but I mean, as a Terran player, of course, I want these to go through. I don't know about Nap and Vec, but I don't know.
let me clarify a little bit. Right now, there's some sort of cooldown on laying a spider mine.
Yeah.
Very little in Starbow. Very little. It's more in Brood War.
Okay, the Brood War one is more.
Wait.
And it's more of a natural cooldown because the units were like derping when they were placed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but like this, the cooldown I'm talking about it's an actual ability cooldown where when you lay down the spider mine, you have to wait 3 seconds before issuing another command to lay down a second spider mine. Whereas in Brood War, you could lay down a spider mine and then lay down another one right after it. If
you guys are saying 2 different things then.
Oh, you're saying that in Brood War it was buffed compared to Starbow.
Yeah. No. You guys nerfed it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like
well,
when you're. Yeah, when you lay down spider mines, there's a 3 second delay. Like okay, you lay down your first spider mine. Even if you wanted to lay down a spider mine right after it, you wouldn't be able to, because you have to wait 3 seconds before you lay down the next spider mine. It's kind of like the side storm cooldown, where you have like a 2 second cooldown, where you can't spam storms.
You can actually in Starbow now. You can queue up spider mines now. You can like you won't be able to like lay down the next one instantly, but you can tell the vulture to queue up laying of mines.
Yeah. No. But in Brood War, you can actually lay down the second mine practically instantly. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, I know Protoss players don't want to deal with this because I mean, spider mines are scary. But
the only thing I don't want is a huge control group of 20 vultures just pooping all their mines out instantly.
Yeah, that's another
That's my
thing.
biggest concern with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is just the offensive ones, because I feel like there was definitely a stage at one point, and I don't know which version of the spider mine it was, where offensive mines were really good, and I know that there were a few changes to it. I don't know if it had something to do with their target priority or what, but
Yeah.
that's my biggest concern, is just being able to, like, hey, I've got this position. I don't want a bunch of spider mines just completely, like, especially at my own natural. I don't want a bunch of spider mines come in there and just like wreck my units and then force my units to back up, and then there's a gap, and then they're killing my probes, and then they're in my main. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I hate
Max
vultures.
getting frustrated.
No, I can totally see that
Just thinking
too.
about it makes me want to punch babies.
I mean, I can totally see that, because in Brood War, it's not like you can only control 12 vultures. So like, if you can lay down 30 mines at one time, like, you're a god. And like in Starbow, that's easy to do. Like, I can totally see that, and I think that's the original reason why there was even that cooldown for the vultures. But like in like those mid-game timing attacks where you're actually trying to engage the Protoss army, the vultures become a lot weaker now. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of pros and cons here.
So what about like
maybe
what about
instead
like
of 3
half the
seconds,
delay?
Yeah. Like make it a second and a half instead of 3 seconds or something like that.
Yeah. I guess
Because
that-
there was a planned animation in Bird War that did take some time. Like it wasn't instant in Bird War. Like
Oh, okay.
you had to derp around a little bit with it.
That's true.
And another thing, but I think the most important point here is the fact that spider mines can kill each other as easily as they can. I think that is more important than the cooldown.
That's pretty.
But it
major.
depends on the situation, of course.
Oops, I forgot to change it.
But I should probably do some testing in Bird War and see exactly how the spider mines behave when it comes to that.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I think you'll be surprised. It'll be fun.
And another thing that would be interesting, though, if we add this behavior to the spider mine, that means that in early game stages, when if a dragoon sees a spider mine and it's hitting, then actually running away from it is going to negate a lot of its damage.
Maybe.
Because it's going to have a small delay between.
Yeah.
Well,
would be nice.
maybe that'll make
Because that is one thing that does feel kind of frustrating, is when you're like, the mine activates, you try to pull your unit back, you're just like, he's gonna die. He's definitely very, very, very dead. So.
And also, if we add a cooldown, wouldn't that make mine diffusing a little bit easier, possibly? It might.
It
right?
could.
Maybe.
It could give them that little bit more time to, right before, when the mine is on top of the dragoon, if a shot got it, it could still defuse it.
I don't know how that works.
No,
though.
what happens is that unit suicides, and then there's a little bit of a delay, and then the damage happens.
Yeah,
so
it's
you wouldn't have any
different.
more time for that.
Yeah.
That's the technicalities behind it.
All right.
No, but that is an interesting point. Let me just note it down. I have a big list of stuff that we can look at, and like I've tried a different whatever. I'm not gonna ramble about my list, but I have a big list. Let me put it up there
Okay.
before I forget.
So I think that covers the balance discussion, and I think it's time for Soda to shine. So you've done so much with the work lately. So much that like I can't even keep track of it. So you're gonna have like a lot of stuff to talk about.
My voice is kind of sore after talking so much, but yeah.
Oh, that burn.
So hi guys, yeah, there's kind of a lot of stuff lately in the Eros website. Mainly the verification of accounts for users. Now it's really easy. I think some people have had the chance to try it out before Blizzard decided to fuck up their API. And it's looking pretty awesome as far as I can tell. So what's left on it? We just need the map vetoes and some 1 or 2 details, which I guess we can do pretty fast. And after that, we'll start with the alpha, and that means with the beta, because alpha is finishing with that, and that's bug fixing, testing, tweaking the chat, because I think the chat is kind of clunky right now. Doesn't feel as good as it could. And overall, just fixing details.
Another thing, and this is probably one of those changes he's talking about that's quite easy to fix, is just to add Korea in there as well, or yeah, because right now you have the NA map and the EU map, and just you can add a Korean profile, but you can't queue on Korea yet. And
That's
probably
right. I forgot about that.
And just this is kind of like a question straight to Soa, but is the client set up in such a way that if someone wants to translate it to another language, that can be done fairly easily?
There should be, there will be at least a way to change the language of the system and have it located on your self language, and as we have in the desktop version, which currently has many languages as far as I can recall, which includes German, Spanish, Korean, and some more. And therefore, the idea would be kind of the same for the website. And the patches, I guess that would at the moment would be handled in the website and the forums that this has been done at the moment. Is there any questions about this or any feedback or things you would like to add?
Wasn't there something about like the whole like authentication that got changed or something? Were you gonna like do it through the actual BattleNet client or something?
Yeah, it's currently like that, and that's working insofar BattleNet API is working. And it's incredibly easy. I think one or two guys that had the chance to try it out, and it's just you go to your to the Eros page, just click on Verify EU, you log into your account in BattleNet, and that's all you do.
Oh, and so you don't have to change like your icon picture or anything like that?
Nope. You don't have to do anything more.
Yo, that's so sweet!
Yes.
Oh my god, that is so awesome.
I think this is one of the biggest things
huge.
for the growth of Starboat in the future. Tomato King, you know, he was interested in this. Having the ladder and the matchmaking client be very easy to set up is a critical piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
I am relatively confident. Now maybe I'm being just a little bit hopeful or pie in the sky here, but I'm relatively confident that should Starbow, you know, especially when we do decide to release, and you know, if we can get some, you know, more of that kind of total biscuit day 9 coverage sort of thing from big community members who might hype us up a little bit, is if it's really easy for people who want to play it to get on, push a button and say match me up, I'm gonna go play a game, that could really sustain growth, because I think overall there's people out there who are interested, there's people who like it, like the direction that it's in, they just don't want to go through the hassle of trying to find a game. A lot of people don't have time, they just want to be able to boot up the game, click play, and go. So that is really important for sustaining, you know, more than 100 or 150 people playing at a time.
I mean, like the original Eros matchmaking or client, whatever, like the only reason why I ever bothered to actually read the directions and get through everything, like as hard as it was, even though it's really not that hard, is just because I wanted to play with vultures. Like, that was my only motivation. I was just like, I want to play with vultures, I'll do whatever it takes, so I set up the matchmaking system. But actually, so I was thinking, it's like the kind of, what you've been doing with the chat and everything, with like the online matchmaking system, it looks a lot like BattleNet 1.0 actually, where you have like your chat, and then your game's like right next to it, like you matchmake and you have chat like literally right next to it. Whereas in like StarCraft 2 or BattleNet 2.0, it's like it's not like that. Like the chat isn't the main thing about it.
Most the idea behind this was to get that first things easy as possible, as easy as possible, because there's a lot of people, as far as we've seen, that go into the chat and have no freaking idea what to do, and they're so lost. And it's kind of sad to see that the problem is a tool. I mean, the problem should not be a tool in any point. It should be helpful. So the idea to do the authentication system was just to make that easier and not to disturb people from playing. And then with this tool, we will have the match history do this stuff. The how's it called? The verification of the matches for us instead of having to upload replays. But that's a little change. I mean, the authentication system is the one that really makes a deal. And on the other side, having the chat and having the matchmaking system separated, I've seen that there's a lot of people that just stand in the chat in Eros without wanting to play. I
Yeah.
mean, the community is great, and we like to talk about any stuff. You can see the Skype group; it's bullshit after bullshit, and that's
My bad.
Nothing to do with BorN.
Nope.
that's kind of the magic that it has.
The
So-
autism in there is so freaking crazy. I feel like I'm contributing to it sometimes. Oh my god.
This is your second state of the bow, BorN.
Oh, man.
Last time, you know, it was. I was gonna say that you were. You were.
I was
representing the
pissed.
you're representing the community. Today, you're representing yourself a little bit more. I feel, but that's okay.
Oh really? Yeah, well, you know, you guys know where my heart lies with Starbow. I'm not wearing pants, by the way. I'm fixing my boxers, in case you guys are wondering. So.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Beck, what were you saying earlier about? There's something I really wanted to say and I forgot. It was in response to. What were you?
I was referring to it being easy for people to play, and the next time we get, you know, the big hype, you know, and you're talking about getting a hold of, you know, Day 9 and him doing it daily and taste doses and all that. Was it that? Maybe.
No, it was something else, but I forget. It doesn't matter. It's okay.
Did it have to do with the matchmaking system or Eros or anything like that? This topic, at least.
Sorry, I was completely out of the topic. What did you say?
Yeah, tomato.
I was just
So-
floating in my That's what. Yeah, go please.
Okay, where were we? So let's get you back on track. Okay.
Sorry.
I think we were talking about the hub. You were talking about the chat versus matchmaking, how Eros is going to be integrated into starbowmod.com. Because if you go to starbowmod.com right now, everybody can go do that right now. Look at this. So easy. You'll see along the top banner. We got forum, news, about, ladders, events, wiki, some information on the front.
Dude, look at
recent
that left
news, live
sidebar.
streams, all this stuff. So is the goal to have Eros be kind of seamlessly integrated into this, where instead of the front page being maybe a banner with instructions on how to play and those sorts of things, maybe some of this stuff gets moved around and the chat box is like, boom, here's the chat, log in. Is that the idea? Or is that
I've had some discussion with Veritas regarding this. Veritas is the guy that developed the server at the desktop version. I mean, he's the god behind this, and he wasn't really looking into that. He was looking into having stuff separated, and I guess I understand the motivation behind this. There's a lot of effort put into the website and put into the forums. But little by little, I think we should be moving into an integrated system as far as we can. But that takes a lot of time, a lot of work. And if it's already there, we'll look into other stuff before integrating everything, because it can take a lot of time to work.
Yeah, because one thing that is kind of a little bit weird, I'm sure that there's a reason for it, like you were saying, how things are separate, was, you know, you log into the website to view your ladder account or something like that, and then if you go to the forum, you have to log in again. It's all through Mozilla, so you just like click a button, but it's kind of
that's right. Yeah, they're different systems. It was developed by different persons, and I guess I'm kind of struggling right now to work with the logging system, but I guess I get it through, and I guess we can't do much about it right now. I'm trying to get. Well, at least the Eros system works perfectly with the website, not with the forum, but at least if you're logged to the website, you're logged to Eros. That's working.
Which is great. If the forum is somewhat
that's okay.
separate, that's probably okay, so long as you can easily chat, matchmake all from the website. That's the most important thing, I'd say.
And as soon as the website client is in beta stage, we're gonna put a big old play button like
on the
just
left
straight
side.
there. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
well, I don't know exactly where, and we also have to change the how to play. Actually, we could probably just remove the how to play and just put a big play button there instead, because the how to play instructions are based on the client, which was quite complicated, and this is so easy to set up. I don't think we even need instructions right there on the front page.
Well, I intend to have a small tutorial on how to use Eros and what to do with Starbow, because I guess some people can get confused at some point. Therefore, there would be a simple thing like you have to click here, click there. These are the Starbow maps, and have fun.
And that could be something that, I mean, I don't want to volunteer somebody, but I know somebody who's worked with us before, Jack Attack, could easily. I feel like he might want to do something like that for us.
Yeah.
So
He's actually already going to. I talked to Jack Attack, and as soon as we're out of beta, he's going to make 4 Starbow videos. He's going to do one. He's going to do one general overview video, and then he's going to do one per race, where he just goes through the races briefly, as an introduction to new players. And I'm sure I could talk to him, and because he made the old how to set up arrows video, and that took forever because it was hard to set up. But this is so easy that like this should be very easy for him to make in comparison.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, and also I would just want to plug this in really quick, really fast. But I really want to do these like Starbow unit spotlight stuff, and and I also had to learn video editing over the week because I had to make video projects. So I really need someone just to like spend time with me every now and then, just to set up little scenarios here and there where I could just showcase how units work. So like, cause like I used to have a second laptop, but it's like broken now, so I can't play multiple games with Starbow. But like, if someone could just spend the time, just be like, hey, I need you to set up this group of dragoons so I can put vultures and lay mines all around them and kill them all and then run away. Like that's literally all I need, and then I can just put them all together in a clip and make like a Starbow unit spotlight, kind of like the League of Legends spotlight. So if someone could do that, that'd be great. I really appreciate it.
I like that idea. I mean, when I have time, I can definitely do it with you.
Sweet.
When I have time.
Vec, you're a god amongst men. You're a good man.
Well, the next thing would be what would come with the beta movement on Eros. I think the matchmaking system has its bugs, and the errors are not being captured at any point, so it just doesn't work. You click on Q, and if there's an error, you just don't realize there is. So that's one thing we're going to work on. That should be seemingly easy to solve. But I think the most important thing is to get the chat to work awesome. I mean, it should be very easy to use, feel natural. Now, right now, it feels really clunky, and it doesn't feel right. So that's one of the things I'd really like people to just say whatever they think about it. I mean, even if it's, oh shit, this is crap, dude, just dedicate yourself to, I don't know.
Currently, in the Eros client, when you log in and you get in one of those chat groups, there's definitely different, kind of similar to a Twitch chat. There's different colors for different people's names and that kind of sort of thing. Currently, they're all navy. Like that would just be one thing that would be. It's something we have in the old client that would be nice, just to more easily tell who you're talking to. I don't know if there's a setting there that could be, pick my text color, something like that. But
Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, that's the kind of feedback I'm looking for. And cool. I mean, just using the forum for just posting whatever. Don't have panic to spam it. It's for that.
I'm gonna post in the forum right now.
Dude, we should like make the colors like when we go to arrows.starbowmod.com, we should like change the colors from like mahogany to like blue. That'd be sick. So people know they're in the cool place.
Well, all the Starbow thing is red, and it's a really difficult red to work with. So if we decided to change to blue, that would make stuff so easy. I mean, really easy.
Gosh, Zephyus, come on, why'd you choose red? Or was it Cabell?
It's the old logo sticking around. It's this is a community project. Let me just put it that way.
It's all your fault, Zephyus.
So yeah, and this next thing. Were you going to say anything, BorN?
Actually, yeah. So that left side of the matchmaking system where it says you can join room, like, does that mean you can make like your own titles and be like 1v1 noob only, please, or like 1v1 D/D+?
Yeah, it should be shown.
Oh,
but right
yes.
now,
that's so sick.
That's in the desktop.
Thank you so much. It is.
Wait, how do I make my room?
Yeah, it's in the desktop one.
Yeah.
Right now it's not working, but I have intention of having a put your whatever
name you want.
Room. Yeah.
Oh,
but
so sweet.
You can also open a private chat with anybody by just double clicking on their name over the right. So like, I'm chat to Mercedon right now. Hi, Mercedon. How are you?
And well, if you well, one of the things I really wanted to add to the chat, and I think that was asked by many people, was to make noises or just alert people when they were receiving private messages. So that's one of the things I'm taking more care into. Because sometimes you will receive messages and have no freaking idea you were being talked to. So right now, whenever you're not looking at the chat, it will make a sound. You can disable it anyway. It will make a sound whenever you're being directly talked to.
That is quite nice. I remember hearing that sound, not knowing what it is. Like, what is making that sound? Like, oh wait, oh.
Well, it's a transmission. It's a transmission sound from Brood War. So.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're gonna add those in? You're gonna add sounds
It is.
in?
It's already there.
Oh my god. Wait, they are?
Yeah.
If you like minimize the window and someone sends you a direct message, then you get a sound.
No way. Wait, Vec,
So
mail
awesome.
me. Wait, Vec, where are you? What?
Okay.
Where'd you go?
You're not in chat anymore. I don't.
Oh, I'm there now.
Wait,
Yeah,
here
she's
we go.
back,
Okay.
back. So, yeah. It will make like a little blip, and the actual name of the chat will change.
I heard it.
Cool.
That was sick. Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
So, yeah, there's a lot of things to test in the chat, and I'd like to make it really, really useful. Then, therefore, we could move the chat from Skype back to Eros. Because Skype is good, but it sometimes derps really hard.
Yeah.
And getting new people into the Skype group is awesome.
Yeah, I'll definitely encourage everyone to move over to Eros once it's in beta. This client, and we're not gonna stop using the Skype group, but
Wait, you know what would be so cool? Okay, I'm in the chat channel right now, or I'm talking to Vec right now. If I was just to click his name, if you could just give me like a brief summary of like his win and loss, like, oh, that'd be so sick. Oh.
that would actually be really good.
Like his
Like
win-loss
before,
ratio,
right?
his loss rate to Protoss, our personal
do that,
records.
'cause you can do that
Oh, that'd be
currently.
so sick.
Yeah, that was being done for the actual website.
Yeah. That's already done.
Didn't get implemented at the end, but yeah, we're intending to get the profile from every player with.
Oh my god, that'd be so
And
sick.
if you go on over the matchmaking system, you see your profiles are listed there. That's something I added recently, and you can disable your profiles as well in case you don't want to use them or whatever.
There's another thing. Just want to mention that briefly. If a new player tries to add a profile right now, it's gonna look like he's trying to enter a very dangerous website, and every web browser is basically gonna tell him that what he's doing is very scary. That's because we don't have what's called an SSL certificate right now, and it costs money. There's nothing scary about it, but it is a website where you're told to give a password because you are logging into your Battle.net account, and since we don't have it encrypted, the web browsers will think it's very iffy. So unfortunately, getting SSL certificates is quite expensive, and we're looking into some options. But yeah, you're in there right now. This connection is untrusted. What should I do?
Yeah.
So that's something we're looking at, but that's a little bit annoying.
Well, that's the page that BorN is doing. I'm seeing BorN doing these stuff, and you get a connection trusted, as Chiefus has said. That's just the ASCII told that we don't have a certificate.
Yeah, don't have a token. Is that like gonna get changed or something?
Hopefully.
You don't even read the first message, dude.
No, I didn't. I wasn't paying
Well, the
attention.
first thing is, right now, Battle.net is having big issues with the API, and it's always breaking down, so it's not returning any messages. I updated the server. I got to do the server stuff, and it will change the message. Right now it's a character not found or something like that, and it should be something like Battle.net server internal error or something more descriptive. But
yeah,
Let's everybody know that it's Battle.net's fault, not our fault. So blame us.
Yeah.
that's
right now.
that's right. You've got the point.
Yeah, right now you can't add a new profile in Arrows.
Yeah.
If you're new and you want to add one, you just talk to Soa and he can help you with it. But you can't do it this way now just because of Battle.net being stupid.
And that's the best way to put it. There's like 5 messages in their forums, and they're being really, really assholes about it. But anyway. Well, next thing.
Cool. I think the next thing we want to talk about was probably the style of ladder and MMR ISO. More to talk about
right.
details. So.
Right.
Can I give like a little bit of an introduction here? What kind of choices we have?
Please do. Please do.
and some of the pros and the cons, because this is something we've been through a lot, and it's I'll just talk about it briefly. So basically, the system we have right now is actually very similar to StarCraft 2, because your rank, like your main rank, if you're A, B, C, D, or E, is only based on what's called a true skill, which is only calculated by looking at what kind of players you beat and what kind of players beat you. This rank will not change if you grind 100 games unless you get better. This rank will only change if you actually get better and start beating players that are higher ranked than you are in this MMR rank, which is hidden. But just like, and this is the same in StarCraft 2, where you're not going to get promoted from gold to platinum just because you're playing a lot of games. You're going to get promoted because you're actually getting better, hopefully. Yeah. But within each league, within the D rank, for example, you will get points for winning. So you can get like to number 1D by just but you won't get into C without actually getting better. And this is very similar to StarCraft 2. The only difference is in StarCraft 2 the MMR has a decay, and we don't have an MMR decay right now. It's just stays the same no matter what.
Apparently it's a good thing because everybody's complaining about that right now.
Yeah.
They're having a lot of
Everyone hates StarCraft 2 that make matchmaking right now. It's like so sad.
Okay.
Apparently it's really difficult to get.
Glad we're easy enough not to put that in then.
So we're not going to use Icy Cup?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is what we have right now.
Okay.
What we used to have before, and this is kind of stupid though, because what we have right now is StarCraft 2 system with letters like Icy Cup, so it's kind of confusing. And we used to have an Icy Cup system with names like StarCraft 2, like Gold, Silver, Platinum. So we're kind of like derping both ways. But the problem with the system we had before is that it wasn't 100% Icy Cup, and this is because Veritas, for whatever reason, didn't implement it the way I told him to, but that's okay. But basically, you wouldn't, like in Icy Cup, you would gain less and less points from wins the higher rank you were. Like if you were B rank and you won a game, especially versus equal rank, you wouldn't get 100 points anymore. You only get like 50 or something. But if you lost the game to like a C rank, you'd lose a ton of points. So like, depending on where you were on your road to A rank, it depended on how much points you lost or gained from a win or loss. But it was basically like, I guess most people have played some Hearthstone, but it's very similar to the Hearthstone system where everyone starts at the bottom, and whenever you win, you get a star. Whenever you lose a star, and you just work your way up, and you just grind, and and of course the best will end at the top because they win more than the others. But everyone starts at the same place, and when there's like a ladder reset in Hearthstone now, you don't get reset all the way down if you ended up quite high. In Icy Cup, you actually all got down back to D level again, which wasn't the lowest level though. You could get even further down, but it was quite low. But that can be changed, of course. We can have like a ladder reset where you only like lose like 1 or 2 whole ranks. So if you were A, you go to C or something. That could happen, of course. But just to also, so the first system, the MMR system, is really good for like ladder resetting to make sure that the good players don't just have to beat a ton of bad players to rank up again. It's also good in this, it's good in the latter sense of actually like, it actually, your rank tells you about how good you actually are, kind of sense, if that makes sense. It doesn't really right now because there's so few players, but if we get enough players, it will. The other system is more rewarding for playing. You might in the beginning of the season face a lot of really good players with low ranks just because it has been a reset. But as the season goes on, those will start to get higher ranks, and you feel like every win you get more points, and you feel like maybe if I just play a couple more games I'll get to C rank. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's more of a rewarding of a ladder system. It doesn't necessarily represent skill, but it is more rewarding that way. So I actually want to hear from. Okay, so now I put up the pros and cons and everything. I want to hear, okay, especially from Nap, because it seems like you might have to leave soon.
Yeah, like 15 minutes.
Okay, I want to hear from you. Which system would you like?
It seems like the Icy Cup system rewards grinding games more, and overall, something like that is more beneficial to a game that you actively want as many people playing as possible. And yeah, when like a ladder reset occurs, it seems like there's going to be a little bit of chaos with the rankings in the beginning, but as long as it keeps people playing consistently throughout the season, other than okay, I got to B rank or I got to A rank. There's no reason for me to play anymore. I think overall, whatever you can do to keep people playing is the best.
That's very interesting and good feedback. Vec, what about you?
My feedback is kind of looking at it from a different perspective. Now I'm looking at it more once you have somebody hooked, keeping them playing. My concern more would be getting people playing without being discouraged, which is where I think the MMR is more helpful, because especially transitioning from SC2 to Starbow, it can be really discouraging. I mean, you might lose your first 10-15 games in a row, and so I guess it's looking at two different things. There's the matchmaking, and then there's the ladder, what you actually see. So something where I would like there to be some sort of, the system knows how good you are and is generally going to match you up against people who are roughly as good as you are. So that's my main concern and why I like more of the MMR style a little bit better than the IC Cup one. Because if I play 10 games and I feel like I'm pretty good, I want it to tell me, hey, you're decent this game. Maybe you're in C or you're in, B- or something. Whereas, I don't want to feel like I have to play 50 games before I have any idea, okay, how good am I actually am I at this game, So that's kind of, I can totally see what Nap's saying there, but I'd be concerned about just making it easy for people to get into it and not feel like they're just gonna get obliterated all the time.
Yeah, there's definitely some pros and cons there. So I want to hear from you too about this.
Me?
Kind of taking you over as host there. I'm sorry, BorN, but I'm very excited about the subject.
Okay, well, let's see.
No. So I wanted to hear from him first, if that's okay.
Go for it.
So BorN, your camera has slid down.
Oh, is it? Okay, well, let's back up now.
Okay.
I actually have no idea what would be the best system, because as Vic has pointed out, the iCup system does not represent how good you at playing, but it encourages people to play and grind games, and that's something that we may look into, because at the end of the day, what as Nap has pointed out, what you want is people to play. Mm-hmm. And to keep on playing. But at the same time, if you get matched against people who have your same iCup rank but a different MMR, it's not really correct matchmaking.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of a deal there, and I think it really needs to be thought out with a lot of detail.
That actually came to my desk, but I just want to hear from BorN as well. I just want to have all opinions on the board first, if that's okay.
Okay, well, let's see. The way that I see it is, if you look at two different systems, you have the MMR system from StarCraft 2, and you have the ladder point system from IC Cup, right? But these systems are different because of the way that you find games. Like in IC Cup, you find games because you actually manually create your own lobbies. But in StarCraft 2, you hit a button that says matchmaking system. Pair me up with the person that's closest to me in matchmaking in level. So I feel like if you were to use that StarCraft 2 system where you hit the matchmaking button and it pairs you up with someone that's around the same level, that's like using the StarCraft 2 system, right? So wouldn't it be better to use the matchmaking system from StarCraft 2 for that? Or, would you try to mash it in somehow with the IC Cup system, which isn't really exactly about skill level, but points,
I was actually kind of thinking about that a little bit, because from hearing from you guys is that we do have MMR. That is an engine that will be running no matter what system we implement. We will still keep track of MMR behind the scenes because we can do that, and that can be useful in any way, shape, or form. And we could actually, technically, I'm not saying we're going to do this, but I was thinking about this. We could technically go just do a full-fledged IC Cup system, but the matchmaking would go for MMR, so you won't be placed versus, if you have two D levels, that D level, which should be a B level but hasn't grinded yet, will actually be placed versus those really good players right away, and then he will be rewarded with a lot more points earlier, so he can rank up faster. Mm-hmm. And also probably with a ladder reset, the higher ranked players don't need to start at D level all the time. They can maybe start a little bit higher to make sure also that becomes I think there is a potential mix there that could be very interesting. I really like I just love the feeling though, and I remember this from Rise of Cup. I just love the feeling that you can feel that okay, if I just win 2 more games now, I'm in C rank. You know that
Yeah.
that feeling. Like you don't feel like, oh, I have to beat the Red Bandit to get to C rank. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to beat this person because he's better than me to go up there. I just have to win 2 more games versus anyone who's basically my skill.
Yeah.
Wait, so
But
quick
at the same
question
time,
though.
I also feel get that feeling from looking at the ladder, and if you're towards the top of the ladder and wanting to be the top in your division as well. Both from StarCraft 2, you know, once you're up there and you're like, I'm Diamond Rank 3, I can just win like 3 games in a row, I'll be able to pass this guy and I'll be Diamond Rank 1, that would feel really good. Or even in our Starbow one, trying to be like I think I'm at 5th in D right now because I haven't played in a long time, but like trying to be like towards the top of even just like D, like does feel good. So something I think I wrote down, like highlighting a couple of things. User friendly, making even matches, and having that sense of accomplishment. And so those are things we have talked about. So, but whatever the case, the MMR I think we have to use the MMR to find matches.
Yeah.
So that people,
Just the
that's
fact
critical.
That we have like a matchmaking button and we have MMR implemented. Like that is, especially when we get more play. Like MMR right now is really not that accurate because it's only a lot of players only have it calculated by facing almost the same opponent over and over, and that really doesn't give you a good MMR. But as soon as you get a variety of opponents, the MMR is gonna and it does go quite quickly better.
Actually, I have one more question about like the whole matchmaking, but like so like StarCraft 2 is like everything's automated. It does all the work for you. Brood War, it's like you have to do all the work to get your points. So like if I wanted to play a custom game against someone and I wanted it to count for points, is there a way to do that? Oh wait, no.
Yes. I think Solo can actually explain that.
Wait, but I don't think that would be a good idea though, because if you're just playing like a regular practice game, and your opponent doesn't know that you're playing a practice game, now you're just like.
No, what we could do, we could have a challenge mode in the ladder client.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to talk about having some way of challenging people and accepting challenge and creating the match from that challenge.
That's awesome.
Damn!
Like his name and like right-click challenge accepted.
I challenge you to a duel, like PvP in an MMO.
Yeah. The concern about that would be people trying to game the system to get to the top of the ladder. But that's something people would have been able to do back in, I don't know, like win trading and that kind of stuff. I'm not sure exactly the details of that. That's just a concern that pops up immediately, but I'm sure that's something that we could take a look at.
I think some way to avoid that would easily be... for starters, you can only attach one profile to one account. So you would have to have multiple accounts. That would be kind of expensive, let's say.
Yeah.
And on the other point, we could do as well a system that rewards less points if you play multiple times against the same opponent, for example.
Alright,
guys, I gotta bail. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Joining.
Thanks for being here, Nap. It's good.
Yeah. Hey, Nap, are you gonna be back on tonight? Or soon?
Yeah, later on tonight I should be on for a little while.
Okay. Cool.
So
hopefully we can get... I might be out. I might be out on a date, but whatever.
Oh.
No, but all right. So actually, hold on. Let me post your Twitch in the chat. So what is it? Twitch.tv/NapSC2. NapSC2. Just like that.
Nap is the only guy with his own emote as well. That's the
oh
emote.
yeah, that's how epic he is.
Oh, I started to type that into.
So, Vic, who are you going in a date with, eh? Who are you going on a date with?
Yeah, it's a good question. All right, guys. Thank you again. Hopefully I'll be back soon.
Bye, Nap.
All right, see you, Nap. Love ya.
Yeah, we'll have to ask BorN all about his hot date later.
Okay. Oh, I gotta change all the.
Yeah. In any case, that additional systems for this matchmaking system will take some time, and will come after the beta, of course. Right now we're in this kind of weird system, and as long as it works, I guess we should stick with it for some time.
Okay.
Because we don't have the manpower to work otherwise.
Also, just throwing it out there. If anyone has any programming skills, especially with JavaScript, and has a lot of time to help, then let us know.
Hooray.
Yeah.
So I think we could. Last thing is we are considering. As I think we talked this already, having the arrow system being a hub for all the Starbow interactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a future plan in any case.
Sweet.
But that takes some time, and I guess it will at some point feel like an application having everything. But yeah.
Damn, you have a lot to do.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was actually one of my follow-up questions here. Just kind of like once we were kind of finished talking about was just kind of what is your timeline that you're looking at? When do you hope to have stuff done? Don't feel like I'm like, come on, someone get it done.
You gotta release.
Deadlines. But I'm
Get out of
just curious what
beta.
you're thinking about, how progress is coming along and when you would hope to get, certain
Yeah.
things like moving into the beta stage for the online client, etc.
I think we can move into beta in about 1 month, and we're trying to synchronize this as much as we can with the launch of Starbow as such. But in any case, once it's out in beta and it's working perfectly, I'll probably take some time. At least I'll keep an eye on it for sure. But I mean, I'll leave it at working and everything for some time because you all know that this is something that takes a lot of time and it burns. So we all need some rest every once in a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's understandable. And also, we do have we are getting a little bit of help here and there, so hopefully that can help. Horrible words, whatever.
So, yeah, that rounds up everything from errors. If there's any more questions, there's the Starbow forum for that. You can shoot me questions anyway. I'll be glad to answer them. Be it by Skype or in the actual forum or in the Arrows system. And any feedback, we'll be really, really glad to have it and to have the system look as awesome as it can.
We'll also try to. Day9 said he will do another Starbow daily.
Really? He won't even do his SC2. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Whoops, I didn't say anything.
We're gonna try to. We're gonna try to sync up his daily with the beta release of the Arrows ladder,
awesome.
so he can announce that on his stream when he has the daily.
So if any of you guys out there want to get some content out before then, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a lubrication for getting everyone else back in.
He's gonna do 10 vs Protoss, so if you have any really good 10 vs Protoss replays, just send them my way.
Sweet.
So I actually have a couple of really good ones now, but some of them are a bit outdated in terms of patches, unfortunately. So.
Am I in any of them?
I don't think so.
Oh wow, it's
BorN
unfortunate.
will have to practice tonight.
Yeah.
Send him a carrier one.
Oh god, no. Okay.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Or
Next point. I'll talk a bit because I haven't talked for a long time, so let me talk.
That's okay.
And how come we make Starbow more appealing for casual players? And it has been proposed to add faceted maps. I mean, the arcade feeling from Brood War. That's team game, peak game hunters, faceted maps, and what I believe is the biggest point for that is an AI, kind of interesting AI, not one that builds a barracks and stays there. And that's due to the fact that at least I do have the issue that I don't want to play someone. I don't want to feel like an asshole playing against someone who's gonna steamroll me, even if it's not so. But it's kind of a little bit of panic. Maybe it's just social awkwardness, but could be anything. And an AI really takes off that pressure, and you can play whatever you want. You can even try stuff out, and I think BorN, I mean, Trigger Sappy was going to look into that, but it's something that is always taking. No one's gonna take a chance at that. It's a really difficult thing to do because it's implemented really badly in the editor system.
That sucks.
Yeah, you basically in the StarCraft 2 editor, you basically cannot import any scripts. You have to code everything within the trigger system of StarCraft 2 itself because they're really afraid of hacking and that kind of thing. So that makes it very, very hard because trigger work in StarCraft 2 itself, if you want to do some really heavy trigger work, it takes forever.
Gotcha. Now, is that something where the standard AIs are accessible and could be modified, or are those like not available for people to play with, like the standard SC2 AIs?
We could modify the standard SC2 AI, yes. And the problem with the standard SC2 AI is just that it doesn't know how to handle the Starbow units.
Yeah.
It doesn't know what to do with the new buildings and stuff. So
it'd be a matter of replacing things in the triggers and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like the build orders, like letting it know, hey, you need to build this before you can build that. Or
yeah, and the standard SC2 AI, the triggers that are built into that is not visible in the editor.
Oh, really?
So you're gonna have to add custom triggers. Yeah. You can't just tweak current triggers in there.
That's
for that purpose. So and also there's some good news though. I've recently been able to make use of a third StarCraft 2 account, which is Teddy Bears. He's now trusting me with his account. So that means, because there's a limit, and not a lot of people know about this, but there's a limit per account how many maps you can upload to the arcade. And that's 20 maps per account. And that sounds like a lot, but Starbow has a lot of maps, and there's a lot of other files in the background of these maps that needs to be there as well. So my account is full, Kibel's account is full, so getting all these team maps up and all these fastest maps up, we actually need more accounts, so we can use Teddy Bears now, so that's pretty good.
Dude, fastest map, man. I volunteered as tribute if we're gonna get a fastest map.
Yeah.
You could use Vec first though. Sacrifice.
We have a lot more accounts. Okay, good. And that's good to know because that basically puts
Zephyrus has a list of like 20 accounts.
I have like
whose account will I use this time?
A document with December's com username and password, Kibel's username and password, Teddy Bear's username and password. I'm like gonna have to make sure when I log into StarCraft 2 I don't just automatically log someone out.
And then with the new matchmaking system, suddenly Zephyrus is at the very top of the ladder, and then everyone's like in like Z rank.
I'm just beating Teddy Bear 20 games in a row. I don't remember playing that.
That would be kind of suspicious, taking into account that Zephyrus got beat by me, motherfucker.
Ban incoming. Alright. But yeah, I mean, if we could just get a fastest map. If we just get a fastest map. Sorry, go ahead.
I can't touch So though because he's in complete control of the ladder systems. I can't just go in and change settings there. So well, I can, but he's gonna revert them very easily. So that's unfortunate. About Balosar, tri-balance and stuff, I need 20 maps. Just people are making maps for us, basically. We're not spending a lot of time making maps, but the fact that we almost have no team maps whatsoever, we have like one horrible 2v2 map that I made, basically. It's good to have some variety when it comes there. And actually, one thing I think is really interesting about team games in Starbow, one thing I kind of missed from Bird War was having those 2v2 and 3v3 maps where you have a shared base, or almost a shared base, where you don't have the random spawns, but where you have to like work together as a team much more, like from the get-go. And you don't have this poor guy spawning at a horrible place on Big Game Hunter, and you know he's just gonna die because right and left to him is his enemies. And the thing in StarCraft 2 team games, StarCraft 2 is really not made for team games because there's so little defender advantage and the army just snowballs so quickly. So usually the games are really short. The armies are the only thing that matters, not really your defensive positions. Even if you have shared bases, but in Starbow you have a lot stronger defender advantage and you have a lot stronger AOE control. So having these shared bases, some of these old SE2 2v2 maps, slightly modified so you don't have these expansions that are towards your opponent but more to the edges of the maps instead. I think that would be really cool for Starbow, to be honest, and be very interesting.
You know what I will say about Starbow right off the bat though, for 2v2 design or team play design? So in Brood War, like if you played a 2v2, you needed to have a Zerg player on your teammate because Zerg was just so mobile with mutas and Zerglings. And actually, 2 Zergs was actually banned. So I think the nice thing about Starboat, this is more like, you know, game design or anything, but we have the units to deal with mutas, and that's for every race. Like Vikings, like that already helps a lot for mech. So I feel like Starboat 2v2 in team games will be a lot better than in Brood War.
Yeah, that could be very interesting. And you know, yeah, the stalkers, for example, are.
Oh, that too, yeah.
And
Yep.
and actually, if we move these Reapers up to Fusion Core, then that won't be so, because Reapers in his teammates have just proven to be incredibly annoying and stupid. So
Yeah.
so that would actually be kind of interesting.
Cool. All right, so it looks like we are near the end of our episode for today, huh?
Getting there.
Yeah.
Oh, do you guys want to talk about the name or not?
I think we might. Can we wait? Hang on for that for another episode. It's
Sure.
getting late. So,
Yeah, we've been on for a while.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I
So,
think
question from the
that.
chat.
Yeah, do we have any questions?
While you guys write your questions, I want to remind you of a couple things. Coming up on Monday, January 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, US, we have Monday Night Starbow, number 15, $50 tournament. You can sign up there. And then, a week and a half later, on January 30th, it's a Friday at 8 p.m. Central European Time, Eurobow number 4. That's also a $50 tournament. You can sign up for that there as well. So, Monday Night Starbow keeps chugging along, going strong. Keep that rolling. So
I'm
sure
so
to check
excited
that out
about.
if you can watch.
I'm so excited about this with the new patches.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be pretty good.
Dude, $50 is a lot.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, first
win
place
both of
takes
them?
35, second place takes 15 in both of them. Yep. Eurobow
Yeah.
number 4.
If you win both of
So-
them, that's $100.
Well,
That's a lot of
70
money.
bucks. But
Oh, is it? Oh, that's right. Never mind. I can't math. Oh.
There's some troll questions so far. Alpha Squad is pointing to something important. That is the new meme thread that we started, and no
Oh,
one
that's
continued that. And I was so disappointed because that meme thread was so funny. So people should really continue that.
Freedom.
Just saying.
Teddy Bear wants a monologue about freedom.
No, he doesn't.
Freedom.
Okay, again.
right,
these questions,
bareback, wearing no pants.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Summed it
Like
up.
that, you know, with my
I think
M16 and my American flag.
Edward
I
Norton.
just fly across the countryside, shouting freedom.
That's all we have to say about that question, Soa. Edward Norton.
I don't even know what that is.
Edward Norton?
Well,
Yeah, what's Edward Norton?
Shamasak asked if I was Keanu Reeves. I think I've got a little bit more expression than Keanu Reeves, so no.
Oh.
Orange,
And the difference here is that Soa is actually aging. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's actually pretty right. That was a really bad proof.
BorN, you are aware that the stream is showing everything that you're seeing on your computer now, and not the overlay and stuff.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Why, did you think I was going to go off to my
Finn
session?
is asking if BorN needs a test dummy for the unit spotlights. He sure is.
Wait, let me look at it.
Good question.
Scout. Wait. BorN. No. Well, yeah, I do, but.
I can actually
I
elaborate
have
the Teddy Bear question because
volunteers.
he's on the development team, and I know what he's talking about here.
Scout with
So-
speed. Yeah,
Teddy
go.
Bear is wondering if, because right now Scout has a speed upgrade, and he kind of wants the Scouts to start with the speed. And basically my answer to that is that let's just see how this reduced cost Scout without fleet peaking works first, and then if it's still completely useless, we can maybe let go of that speed upgrade and give it more speed as well. But one step at a time, I feel, on that issue.
That makes sense.
Alpha Squad is asking when will he get his PC repaired. Well, I haven't heard of flying PCs, so my answer is fucking never. And he's asking when do we add Colossus?
That will be when the bunker build time get changed.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, makes sense. Yeah. We need the fucking bunker upgrade. We need it. I'm sure we need it.
Wait,
I
don't we
know
have
the
it? We
reason,
have
but
it. We already have it.
We have
Capacity
it.
one? I
We
thought
have
we
it.
do.
We have it.
Yeah, we have
I
it.
haven't played Terran for a long
Dude,
time.
TRB uses it all the time.
I haven't played for a long time.
It's like he researches that before getting stim.
Oh,
Okay, a real question from SC Cardboard, player base at the moment. There are basically like 3 avenues of finding Starbow players at the moment. You have the chat channels in the game, which is usually quite reliable. We also have a very big Skype group now. It has like more than 100 people in it, but a lot of those people are just there and probably don't even know that they're there anymore. But that's quite a bit of a group, and you can ask for games in there if you want to add.
Disclaimer
If you
though,
wanna
there's a
go
lot of
to this-
spam. There is a lot of spam, but
Yeah, it's a
but
lot of
honestly
scams.
though, you could just ignore it, and then if you don't want to read the spam, just ignore it. Just pop in, scroll to the very bottom, just say, hey, does anyone want to play games? If you don't get a reply within like 15 minutes, then, well, you probably will, but yeah, just do that.
And then you can also use the ladder, but the ladder, like you said, is slightly dead now. Of course, you want to revive that, especially now with these changes that So's been talking about. So
Yeah.
hopefully there will be more players soon. As closer as Starbow is getting into, like, that we don't change this as much, the more we can start to promote it, especially in Korea, and hopefully that will spark some more interest.
Awesome.
additionally, lately I've been seeing like quite a lot of people. That means like 1 or 2 every day, popping up in the ladder system. So I think it's getting some attention again,
Mhm.
and there's quite a big range from new people which don't really, gold players or something like that, up to masters and grandmaster players. So there's a big range of people, and moving into the player base. So yeah, we could say that the current ladder base is, player base is around 30 active people, 20 active people.
Speaking of which,
yeah.
actually, after this, Vec, are you actually playing something? Are you gonna be hosting something?
Tonight I might be on later tonight.
Uh-huh.
Immediately after, I got some guys are hanging out and on pizza, and like we're doing like a little LAN party.
Oh, like a
I'm
slumber,
gonna play
it's a
Call of
slumber
Duty,
party.
I guess, which I've never played before. So I don't
Is that
know.
an
So that'll be
RTS?
going on here
Kidding.
for the next couple hours. But I'll probably be on here probably maybe 4 hours from now, something like that. Be
Okay.
back on, maybe play some Starbow. Bow it up
Oh
with
no,
Nap.
Vic's gonna play Call of Duty once, then he'll never play Starbow again.
yeah, the casual, the dirty
Oh.
casual.
I'm gonna play TSP, so yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Kerbal Space Program.
You should try it out.
I've
man.
heard of that. I've heard it's really fun.
That's one of the best games to play in like a chill out day. You just don't want to think in anything and just want to send rockets to space. That's a TSP game.
Sounds great.
That's like me and Hearthstone. That's the game I play when I don't know what else to do and I'm just tired.
I'm gonna knock out one question real quick and then bring up one of Cantuva's questions. Cardboard, SC Cardboard, asked about what level are most active Starbow players. Usually platinum and up. We've had a few
Yeah, that's true,
gold level players, but
Yeah.
for the most part, people are platinum or higher. Not sure exactly why. It might just be that because that's the way the population is. Lower level players try it out, they get crushed, and they get discouraged.
Mhm.
So hopefully, when we get a larger player base, there'll be room for players of all skill levels. But that's generally the way it has been. And then Cantuva has a question regarding his map Cherry Castle and what are some issues that may have been found in it.
Oh, what I don't
didn't
like about
see
it?
that till-
Well, I can say what I personally don't like about it, but it might just be my own lack of skill. But one thing about the thirds in the bases, there's so many ramps. There's 2 ramps that are like so easy. Like what that means is that it's easy for Zerg to defend, because I mean ramps aren't a big issue. But when it comes to like Terran, it's like, oh, now you gotta defend 2 ramps, and that's how all the thirds are. Like no third is relatively easy to take because there's 2 ramps leading to both of them. But that might just be my own problem. So.
Yeah, are there like 2 ramps on both sides? Or is
Yeah,
it
there's 2 ramps on like both sides, so it's like.
yeah, maybe if it was like
that.
1 ramp here and then 2 here, like that might be a good compromise between the initial design.
But like when you look at Fighting Spirit, like you have 2 thirds you could potentially take from. Like I'm imagining from the top left, right? If I were to go ahead to the 12 o'clock base, I could easily get that because that 1 ramp is easily defendable because if I take my natural, I pretty much already have defended that one ramp. But then if I take this base on the 9 o'clock position, then there's 2 ramps leading to that one base, and I have to defend both ramps. That's the problem. That's what's wrong with Cherry Castle. Basically, the third base is like the 9 o'clock on every single third.
I do feel like it is a really good map for Zerg. Maybe a little bit too good, but I've only played a couple games on it, so.
That's my only issue with it.
A question from Teddy Bear: what do we think about God's Garden, or just Garden, what it's called, Longinus, and the Grand Line? I haven't played Grand Line. Like,
Oh, Grand Line!
I honestly haven't played on any of them yet. I was gone all last weekend, and I've been busy with schoolwork this week. So
Yeah, they're very new maps.
tonight will be the first time I play in a week and a half, probably.
Sweet.
I just personally love Garden, but I think Teddy knows this already. I like that you have 3 very easily accessible bases, but they both have a vulnerability. The backdoor base is easy to defend by ground, but is very vulnerable to drops.
Yeah.
And then the natural just has a wider choke that can be even wider with removing the rocks, so it's not as easy to like force fast expand there.
Do we have any snapshots of it, like right now?
Yeah.
Okay, can you link me them?
quick,
Because I can just pull them up. I want to look at them.
Sure.
Because I know God's Garden is a little bit different from what it was in Brood War.
Oh no, hang on, no,
You don't?
hang on, Garden. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Let me just check real quick.
So does chat have any more questions? Let me just pull it up really quick. I haven't been looking at it too much.
They're having a discussion about player level comparability. I'd say generally, if you're one of the higher levels in SC2, you're generally going to be, better than somebody who's not as good. Most of the skills are going to translate over right up for the most part. I'd say if you're generally around Diamond, you're probably going to be D. If you're around Platinum, you might be D or E.
It's really hard to say.
Our A players usually high masters that do have some grandmaster, but it's hard to say because
It also depends on your
ladder
level
has-
of Brood War. If you had
Yeah.
played Brood War quite a lot, it translates really good. But StarCraft does not translate as good as Brood War.
Yeah, because the thing about StarCraft 2 is it focuses a lot more on micro and unit control. But in StarCraft Brood and Starbow and Brood War, it's more positional play. It's more decision making.
So yeah, you have to play the ladder once it's up and figure yourself.
And that definitely will change if we get more lower level players to play the game, and having a larger player base will help flesh that out a lot more too. So
yeah, I did post a link to that image in the Twitch chat now about the map. Now, if we look at the map, there's a couple of changes in the Starbow. First of all, of course, you only have 1 gas per base. And also the whole map looks greener now because it's actually called Garden, so we made it green. And
There's extra bases now, huh?
Oh, this is from the Legacy of the Void custom. I just figured it was from Brood War.
It is from Brood War as well.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, but the Brood War doesn't have the 4th bases, the pocket 4th bases, you see. But what I did I also put God's Garden as a test map because we're so sick and tired of testing on Fighting Spirit.
Well, that's not true. I freaking love Fighting Spirit. Come on.
We just started testing on it. And,
Dude, put it on a Grand Line. Oh my god, Grand Line is so good.
We'll still have it Fighting Spirit there though. But the thing I did in the test map is I removed actually the gases from those 4th bases because it seemed to be a little bit easy to take 4 bases with gases. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. What I really like though is that you can harass 2 bases at once from the high ground position. You can harass the early in-base kind of back natural expansion, and you can also harass later game those 4th bases.
Now,
so that high ground position becomes really important.
Oh, sweet.
In the Starbow version, is the back pocket low ground expansion, is that also only 6 mineral patches in Starbow, or how many is that? 6?
I think that might be only 6, but it has like half gas. It has like 2,500 gas or something. It's like half an expansion kind of.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Menoma, sorry, I don't even know how to speak names. Well, he's asking why did we keep the planetary fortress in the game when it's supposed to discourage harassment.
It does discourage harassment though. It's been changed. The thing about the planetary fortress is you actually have to manually activate it, and it also has a cooldown too. So like if you were to run in there with like 1 Zergling Like you could force you could force the cooldown, you could force the planetary fortress to be activated, and then you come back a few seconds later with your real army, and suddenly that planetary fortress is no longer activated. So what that means is it's kind of like a temporary means of defense. So
it is one of those. It is important though. It is one of those things. Like when it was decided that Cabell was going to stop developing Starbow and that we were going to have a development team that I was going to try and organize, do the balancing and design instead. Like we weren't just gonna remove everything because it wasn't Bird War that he had done. We made tweaks along the way, one by one, and we've done certain changes, but we never removed something because it wasn't like that in Bird War. And the planetary fortress, I guess you're right. It does discourage harassment in some shape or form. It has some interesting dynamic to it. We never really had anyone complain about it, and we never really taken into consideration that the planetary might be bad for the game.
They're expensive. I'll say that much.
Yeah,
they're really expensive.
I mean, and don't forget what the Terran is sacrificing. I mean, having an orbital command is generally going to be better for you.
Mm-hmm.
So not having that orbital, not being able to do overcharge as much, not being able to have as many scans. I mean, they're giving something up in order to have that planetary.
Yeah.
So
like I've actually been experimenting more with putting the third as a planetary fortress against TVP, but it's tough because in the late game when you have arbiters with cloak, it's like great. Now I just lost like 2 potential scans.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. So it's a trade-off, which is good because I mean a strategy game like this should be about decision making.
Mm-hmm.
So
But Planetary Fortress is one of those things. Like, if we remove Planetary Fortress in the next patch, I don't think a lot of people would cry too hard. Like, it's not a very important part of stuff.
Oh, I would so cry. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
No, they add a lot. They actually do add a lot. I've been experimenting with them a lot. So.
That's good to hear. There's a very cool question from Nuku here, which I would love to answer. What's the ideal scenario for Starbow after release regarding tournaments, coverage, community size? What would be a satisfying situation for you? Oh, wow. Do I think about this question a lot or what?
All right, that's a can of worms. BorN and I were just talking about it the other night, too.
Wait, what? I wasn't listening.
Nuku.
Okay, yeah.
Question. Ideal scenario.
Ideal situation for after, like, my ideal situation would be like Starbow just taking off completely in Korea, because that's really the only place it can take off, and then because it takes off in Korea, that spawns interest in the West more too, and it just keeps growing and growing to be like the new big RTS. Like that would be like the most amazing thing that could ever happen, of course.
In the year 2015, a world where our RTS has lost hope.
Yeah, pro gamers in Starbow with big tournaments and like,
yeah,
of course,
that would be cool. Yeah,
we would love that. Of course, we're gonna.
And I think there's a follow-up question. There's that ideal scenario, which I believe we probably all feel that way, that's what we would really hope to happen. But then there's also the what would you be satisfied with scenario as well. So I think that's more of what BorN and I were talking about was after release, after Legacy of the Void, and kind of things calm down as far as there's nothing necessarily to look forward to. Oh, did I get dropped?
No. Wait, what?
What's happening?
Wait, what is that noise?
Somebody's
BorN,
calling.
You're calling the other group at the same time. You're calling 2 groups at once.
Oh,
it's my. Oops.
My phone started going off because my phone has Skype on it.
That's
okay.
Yeah, mine was too. I think it might have been me. I don't know.
Anyway, the other question would be, the follow-up question there is, what would you be satisfied with? Like, let's say that, the ideal situation doesn't happen. I'd be pretty happy with, even if we just had a solid player base of just a few thousand people. Right now we have, maybe like 100 people who play on a semi-regular basis. Even if there was just enough that, like, I can sit down and click the play button and get a match within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and actually have a variety of people to play with, I'd be happy with that, because in the end, I'm involved in this because I like the game and I like playing the game. Having a pro scene and all that kind of stuff would be awesome, yes, of course, but just being able to play the game with a variety of people relatively easily is something that I'd be relatively satisfied with. So.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like, that's actually, this is kind of crazy, but when I first played Starbow, and I just fell in love with it, that was what I wanted. I wanted to sit down and just have a ladder and just click play and then try and beat people on the ladder and learn the game and just get better, and with a variety of people. And that is actually the motivation that I still have. That's been the motivation ever since I started. Is that for everything I've done, like everything I've tried to put in time and interest in Starbow, is just to reach that goal. Now I may not actually never reach that because I'm getting so old now that just playing ladder is really really hard for me now. But like, so now it's becoming more than that. But just in general though, just be able to just be able to have like the game going like that is definitely something. I see BorN has these maps now, and you guys can feel free to comment them, but I think I'm gonna say goodbye now. It's getting really late here in Norway, and I gotta get going, kids and everything tomorrow. So
it's okay, baby. I love you still.
Same thing here. I think that was a really good run today.
Yeah. It's getting late here. It's 2:22 p.m. Gonna hit the sack. I know.
Yeah,
hey, I had to wake up I had to wake up at 9 today. I was like, no, this is crazy. Can't do that. Do you know how early 9 a.m. is? My God.
Yeah, I'm sorry, BorN. It's my fault.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm sure Zippius doesn't have to like show up at the school at like 7:30 in the morning every day.
So. That's because he's superhuman.
Yeah, it's so hard.
Having
a normal job is horrible.
I understand your feelings. I have a job and I cannot get up at 8 a.m. even though I have to.
Did I just get a picture of Zippius?
What?
Yeah. I actually start at 9 and I always walk in the office at like 9:03, 9:05. I'm like, close enough.
I'm sometimes at 10 a.m. and it's like, hey people, how you doing? I'm supposed to have.
What are you showing? What is this?
I thought it was Zippius.
That is me. That is me.
Oh really? Oh, there he is.
Dude, you look like a little 17-year-old.
You know what's so sad? You know what's sad about this picture? I'm 29, and this is 2 years ago.
What?
No way.
Dude, you look like a... Wait, who's that girl in that background?
That is not a girl. I think that's... This is from the European Speedster Assembly. This is from the speedrunning event. No, that is not a girl. That is the world record holder of GTA San Andreas. He's actually a guy with long hair.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Oops.
Well, I don't... That's the world record.
Awkward.
That's a really whoops.
So yeah, hopefully I'll have a webcam sometime, and hopefully I won't look as young anymore. I don't know. I'm soon reaching the age where it's just a good thing.
Yeah.
CSI Miami. Looks like this is a dragon. Is that a dragon?
Alright, I gotta get going. Good luck giving feedback on Teddy Bear's maps and whatever else that you need.
So guys, thank you very much for the opportunity and for sharing this. Thank you, Zippius, for having BorN do this, because otherwise he just would have slipped into...
Whoa! Come on!
You would have gotten up at 11 a.m. like...
Yeah, he's probably right. Dude, I was so tired. And I was sick too. I've been sick since Monday. But I love Starbow, so... And I love Zippius, so... That's why I'm here today.
Alright, thanks again, BorN, for doing this. I hope that I was able to contribute occasionally.
Of course, definitely.
Not sound like a total idiot, noob, D-level player, so...
Well, you can beat me
I can only
sometimes,
say things
so.
that sound reasonably smart. You know, I'll be happy. So, thanks again.
So, have a nice day. Or
Alright.
night, or what.
Sign up! Sign up for Monday Night
Oh yeah,
Starbow.
sign up! Go!
Do it! Do it.
Link it. Someone link it in the chat. Monday Night Starbow. All that good stuff. Yes.
I did earlier, but I'll do it again.
Okay.
They can do it.
And
He's
don't forget about the Starbow t-shirt, dudes.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can get that.
Very nice. I need to buy one of those.
Dude, if I could get a black one, I'd be so happy.
Black with blue.
A black one with red or blue? Oh my god.
So sick.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right.
See
See
you,
you,
Zippius.
Zippius.
Bye-bye.
Looks like we're all gonna head out now, right? Are we all leaving? Are we all gonna go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Today's State of the Boat was definitely a lot more relaxed than last time.
Alright.
It's fun. Hopefully it's entertaining for people.
Alright guys, looks like we are going to head off now, and wow, I hope you guys will tune in next time. Love you guys, sort of. Some of you guys I love, some of you guys I don't love as much. Some of you guys I love.
I love BorN.
I love you too.
Nap.
I love BorN also.
Let's go nap.
BorN is so cute.
Soa.
I love Soa.
Soa.
Soa, oh my god. Like last time when he was wearing a, what was it, a scarf?
Right?
Oh my god, that was, it made me so moist.
Right?
Alright. Okay guys, I think it's time to go. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time, probably after the next patch. But our patches have been getting more and more solid lately, so what I would say is overall, I'm feeling really good about the game right now. It's getting to a point where it's getting really fleshed out, really well developed. All we have to do now is just work on really increasing the community, because the developers are doing their job and they're doing a great job. So hopefully you guys will play more games. I may or may not actually continue streaming. I might actually play some games pretty soon, but that depends on what my text messages will say. And I will see you guys next time. Any last shout outs? Any goodbyes?
Just shout out to everybody who's part of the community. Shout out to everybody who watches our events, plays the game. Shout out to Overused Chew Toy for making donations.
Oh yes.
I think Soa, did you make a donation to a tournament once? Or is that Ajwoda?
I've made many donations and I've
Yeah.
I put lots of money.
His heart and soul.
So, shout out to everybody who's a subscriber. Yeah, anybody, all my star boners, heart. Oh, they can't see me anyway, but I'm putting up a heart. There we go. All right.
They can? Oh god. Yeah. Well.
Oh wait, did you want to put up the heart? Hold on. All right, go ahead. Let's go heart then. Wait, it's not even up yet. Oh crap. Wait, no, they can see you. They can still see you. Sweet.
There it is. It's not as exciting now, because talked about.
Sorry.
All right.
That was
So, yeah.
cute, Vic. That was really cute. So, BorN, shut this down.
All right, guys. Peace out. Bye bye.